Rita, at the present time, but we'll endeavour to do so.
Good afternoon, Kenneth. Hello there. Yes, indeed, it's a campaign of what could have been, but what could have been should have started quite a long time ago. Just 2 victories in the campaign, that epic win on Friday night, and also the one against Surrey as well. So look, it's not been Middlesex's year at all, and Middlesex will be looking to make sure that they go out on a bang and play for some pride this afternoon. In terms of the game this afternoon, one change for Middlesex. Tom Helm, thoroughly nice chap, comes in for the side this afternoon, and Anderson takes a break. Tom Helm, a very versatile cricketer with the bat and with the ball as well. And yes, like you said, Kenneth, there is a lot going on at the home of Middlesex and Lords. We might keep half an eye on that, but no, we won't. We'll keep 3/4 of an eye on this game, of course. But looking forward to a thrilling day here at Sophia Gardens.
Yes, thank you, Rita. So Middlesex will take guard, and Stephen Eskenazi, the captain, is out there to the blaring noise of David Iwan reverberating around Sophia Gardens. Tim van der Hoogten will start from the taff end. So we'll get the thoughts of Mike Powell, but first of all, to guide you through the first over, it's Rita Green.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. Yes, what a lovely sunny day here in South Wales. And Van der Hoogten just turning his arm over, ready for the first ball of the game. And I think both sides would have hoped for something to be on today's game. But Eskenazi, who's a man certainly in decent-ish form, right-handed batter on strike to the first ball of the day. Here comes Van der Hoogten into Eskenazi, and short and wide, and cut into the point region, and goes all the way for 4 runs. What a start for Middlesex. 4 to the total, 4 without loss. Not a bad start, Mike.
No, it's the kind of start he wants to bat as well. Nice, wide, juicy cut ball, and he's dispatched that just a backward a point, and it's raced away for 4. Yeah. He'd be disappointed with that. Van der Hoogten, he prides himself on his line and his length, and he's bowled really well for Glamorgan this in all forms. So yeah, he'll be disappointed in start.
Bit of a loosener, but Eskenazi pounced on that. Here comes the next delivery, and this one, absolutely fast and right at the body. And Eskenazi tried to sort of pull it, so to speak, into the onside region, completely missed it, and went through to the keeper. No run. What on earth was that? But through to the keeper nonetheless. And no more to the total. 4 without loss, Middlesex. Sunny day here in South Wales. Certainly breezy as well. My pre-match walk nearly got blown over a little bit, but lovely day nonetheless. Here comes the third delivery. Nicely timed push into the onside, and they go through for a single. 1 more to the total.
Yes, a nice big vacant area in the mid-wicket. We've got the 2 men out, obviously, in the power play. He's got a deep point, and he's got a deep backwards square leg, so that mid-wicket area is. Next fielder next to him will be a Manchester 45 in Prem Sisodia.
Yeah, good point, Mike. Yeah, there's a man out in the deep, right on the boundary rope at sort of deep mid-wicket region, but plenty of room on the onside. Next delivery comes in, and a foolish delivery and a wide going down leg side, and the right decision by the umpire. More to the total. Hasn't quite got his line right, has he?
No, he hasn't. No, he's got a balls down leg side there. When obviously picked that single up and that short and wide outside off. Just searching at the moment, trying to lock in on that good line and length and stay there for 1 or 2 overs.
So Cracknell on strike, Joe Cracknell, with 48 on his back, twizzled his bat, and ready for the next delivery. Here it comes, and this one's a better delivery, right at the body, and push back to the bowler. There's no run. That was a better delivery, wasn't it? Right into the body, and sort of folded him over a little bit there. Yeah,
he's just trying to talk you through the field. He's a man of 45 on the leg side, deep square, mid-on, out on the inner circle. He's got mid-off, out in the inner circle. He's got quite a close cover, deep point, backward a point, and the third man's up inside the circle, northeast of first slip as well.
got this short, fine leg as well position, which is slightly different. Here comes the next delivery, and down the wicket does go Cracknell, and a 4 is punched down at the ground. Really nicely timed, and certainly very safe as well. So 4 more to the total, 10 without loss. Middlesex, not a bad over to say the least. First over of the innings.
Disappointing. It's the best ball he's bowled. That's what he's bowled. The batsman danced down to make a good length delivery into a half volley and pumped over the top. Lovely shot.
Premeditated, certainly, and as you say, it was quite a good delivery. Right, last ball of the over, and this one pushed into the onside of the vacant area. They go through for 1, they think about a second, but they think again, just 1 more to the total, and Cracknell nicks the strike. End of the over, 11 without loss. Nice start for Middlesex, and Van der Hoogten didn't quite get his line right in that over, but 11 without loss is the score.
Yeah, strong start for Middlesex. They'll be very happy with that. They'll settle a few nerves up in that changing room.
And Prem Sisodia will start from this Cathedral Road, and he started at Hampshire on Friday night, but we lost 2 hours to the rain. So Glamorgan went down to a Duckworth-Lewis method, where they were chasing 83 in 6 overs. Got off to a flyer, 19 in the first over, but Kieran Carlson struggled in the second to connect. They were always under pressure. So Prem Sisodia, who's been in and out of the side in this T20 competition. Of course, they've got Peter Hatzoglu to come. Here comes Sisodia, left arm over, and that's gone through everything. And there's an appeal for, was it stumping by Chris Cook? And it is not given.
He did a lot of this last year, opening the bowling for Glamorgan. They've moved him around the middle order and trying to change the position, but obviously gone back to his familiar position of opening the bowling. Wind's going from left to right here, so we've got Cathedral Road to the back of us, and that'll hopefully drift in towards the stumps.
Sisodia comes in, and there is no run, just dabbed down to Sisodia by Cracknell. 11-4, no wicket after the first over. Yeah, it is windy. There is a bit of cloud cover in the capital today. Decent crowd, obviously nothing on it in terms of progressing. Sisodia comes in shorter that time, and it's a good ball, and Cracknell struggles to get it off the square. No run.
Yeah, he's going very wide of the crease here, just darting that ball into the leg stump and cramping up the bounce. It was a very good start from Prem Sisodia.
Mike Powell on BBC Wales Online. We welcome listeners from Radio London as well. That's cut into the offside, and it's fielded at the point region, and there's a single hurl back to Chris Cook.
Just trying to give himself a bit of room there, Cracknell. Everyone's up on the offside for him there, trying to give himself a little bit of room and trying to pierce that offside field.
Sun piercing through the clouds at Sophia Gardens. They will return to championship action in due course before the Royal London One Day Cup starts in August. 8 games minimum. Here comes Sisodia, left arm around the wicket. Again, short-ish, but it's dabbed through to mid-off rather, and it's a single to add to Eskenazi and Middlesex. His total 13 without loss. So good over here from Prem Sisodia, building some pressure. This the final ball from the Cathedral Road end. Slower ball, that's whipped. And reverse sweep, is it going to go all the way? Was it one bounce? Possibly.
All the way.
It's gone all the way, indicated by the umpire, over, what is then deep backward squares rather than point.
Yeah.
And it dribbled just over the far boundary, and it's a good end to what was before that a good over for Prem Sisodia.
Yeah, they really needed that. Prem Sisodia, really good tight start from his first 5 deliveries, but in this form of the game, you practice these kind of shots and then sort of reverse lap slog, and that's a really good shot. The screws of the bat there went all the way for 6. Really good save for the over for Middlesex.
So Rory Smith will start this over from the taff end.
Here comes Rory Smith, indeed, from the taff end. Here he comes to Eskenazi on strike, and this one's dabbed into the offside to the gully area, and they skip through for a single. Oh, that last over, you sort of felt like it was very much Glamorgan building that pressure, and then would you believe it, a 6 off the last ball of the over. But nicely played. And
very nice.
And when they're executed, those reverse sweep slogs, whatever you want to call it, they look beautiful, don't they? When it goes wrong, not so much. Right, here comes Smith. In he comes, and a nice sort of backward of length delivery and skip through to the point region. It's shy at the stumps there. I'd say that it was quite a kind of lapse run through there from Eskenazi, but he seemed like he was in. If it hit the stumps, who knows?
Yeah.
One more to the total, 21 without loss.
Same field, previous. So we've got the slip. Northeast has taken himself out into mid wicket, so a bit of a ring field with two men out on the off. So a man out on the offside and leg side boundary.
Here comes Smith. Oh, this is the most bizarre, brilliant stroke here from Stevie Eskenazi. Went right over to the right-hand side of his stumps and in a premeditated manner ramped it over his shoulder for 4 runs. Nicely played, Eskenazi, 4 more to the total. What do you think of that, Mike?
Well, you can see why he's playing that, because both men are upside, so 45's up inside the inner circle, and also your third man's up there as well, so if he gets any bat on it, it's going to clear them. So it's a relatively safe shot, but looks a bit extravagant.
Yeah, got himself in a good body position, didn't he? Smith once again, and this is a shorter delivery, and actually Eskenazi completely missed it. There was a shy at the stumps as well from Chris Cook, all going on, but the result is a dot ball in the scorer's pad. You're quite right, though, with the fielder up at, short fine leg, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I'll call it short fine leg, because that's what it is. You're right, you knew that there was space there. This is why we love the blast, don't we? Those creative shots all over the place.
There was a bit of a chuckle from the crowd there as Cook rolled the ball back towards the stumps. Bit of controversy from the test match.
Oh, yes. Roy Smith in once again, and this was Eskenazi's beautiful stroke into the offside to a point region. He got himself in a good body position. It was a short delivery and pumped out to deep point, would you believe? And all the way, wasn't it all the way for 6? Yeah, 6 more to the total. And Middlesex are off to a flyer, 31 without loss.
Yeah, Smith gave him a bit of a sight of the ball before that went over his shoulder, so he understands, as a batsman, you understand the pace and the bounce of the wicket, so he actually went the other way, another short delivery, and hit that over deep point for 6. Great shot.
Smith again, and this one's a fuller delivery but into the offside. Nice looking stroke actually from Eskenazi. Goes through for a single. He sort of got a problem with his right hand a little bit. I don't know if it got the very end of the bat, but no problem nonetheless. A good over for Middlesex. I'll have to get my
They're flying along here, over 10 and over. They're 3.
my what do you call it? What's that thing that you use? I just got a calculator for now out for how many was off that over.
An
but
abacus.
A decent over. An abacus, that's the one. Thank you. It was in my head somewhere, but there we go.
Not that old, mate.
No, just to clarify. Yeah, great start for Middlesex in the power play, and playing rather well. And this is what Middlesex need to do, and this is what Middlesex haven't done pretty much all season. With the pressure well and truly off, we'll see how Middlesex get on. But it's a start of a new over, 32 without loss.
Yeah, 13 coming off that third over, and it's brought Timmy van der Hoogten back on from the Cathedral Road end. He started from the Taff end. Here he comes, the Australian-born Dutch international, and that's a good ball. Just tucks the batsman Eskenazi up, and there's no run. He's probably been more expensive than he would have liked during this competition, Timmy van der Hoogten. In fact, he's been quite prominent with the bat. He's played an awful lot of cameos towards the tail end of the innings.
Yeah, I think he's a dangerous player. And I'm right in saying he's not involved in the 100 this year as well. I think he'd be a very useful player in that competition. Like you say, he offers a little bit more than you think with the bat as well.
Yeah, top score 48 during this campaign. In he comes, ambles in from the Cathedral Road end, bowls, and it's a good length, and that's a chop down to the man at 45, at third man. Haul back in, and they take a single, 33 for no wicket. Eskenazi is on 19. Cracknell, who's on strike, is on 13. Middlesex aiming for what would be their third victory in a campaign they would rather forget. Glamorgan have won 5 so far. Timmy van der Hoogten comes in past the umpire, bowls. That's pulled behind, and it was given the treatment it deserved. Just straight down leg, and it was pulled behind square for 4.
Yeah, straight down there. Poor ball, poor length. It was almost like helped on his way around the corner, and just with that one man back on square on the boundary, just behind him there, and raced away for 4 runs. So yeah, fine shot once again. Middlesex absolutely racing along here, 37 for naught.
Jamie McElroy not playing. Timmy van der Hoogten rested on Friday. The only change for Glamorgan, and it's van der Hoogten coming in. bowls, and that's again straight down the leg side, helped on its way. There's a shy coming in from the man Prem Sisodi at fine leg, so they'll take a single, 37 without loss.
Interesting choice to bring him on this set. I thought Prem Sisodi did really well. There's 5 deliveries in the first over from his opening over, and it was a risky shot to end up with that 6 off his last delivery, so interesting choice of taking him off just after 1.
Orthodox T20 field. There's a man at deep point, deep backward square, all the others within the permitted 30. Tim van der Hoogten coming in. That's off the edge of the bat. There's no slip, and it races down for 4.
Yeah, edge of the bat, but it almost looked like he tried to
control.
tried to guide it down there. With there's no fielder from obviously the keeper through to a sort of a real wide gully on the inner circle. So it's a huge vacant area to guide that ball down there. And Van der Hoogten bowling that ball quite some wide, and just felt like he actually played that shot rather than it was an edge.
They're racing along in this batting power play. Just 1 to go in this Timmy van der Hoogten over. In he comes, so that's a better ball, and they'll have to, yes, there's an easy single down to the man who's close in at the 45 at third man, and that's the end of Timmy van der Hoogten's over. 4 overs gone then, and Middlesex flying along. They're going along at a fair lick at the moment, 43 without loss.
For those who's interested in the test match, obviously it's important this game going down there in Cardiff.
Obviously
not suggesting that for a moment. England need another 73 more to win. With Broad on 10 and Stokes 1 for 8.
Surely not.
The man is a genius.
Surely we're not going to see a Headingley again.
Concentrate.
This is torture, isn't it? I'm trying not to look to my left-hand side whatsoever. Not at my co-commentators, but of the screen up above. Look, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening though to BBC London, BBC Wales. I'm Rita Green, and Mike Powell alongside me, as well as Kenneth Davies. We were in the commentary box giving you full live coverage of this really interesting game in the Vitality Blast, but unfortunately not much on it. First delivery of the next over, cut into the offside, and they skip through for a single. Mark, are you trying desperately not to look to your left-hand side?
I'm trying to. Change your bowling here. Zaglu.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zaglu, trying to get his words out.
Hagsoglu, yes, in from the taff end.
Yeah, he's done really well for Glamorgan since he's been over here. This wicket actually suits him. It's a little bit drier than we're used to down at Cardiff, and so hopefully this will be a good surface him to bowl on.
Yeah, nicely flighted delivery in there. Cut to...
Just looks like a juggler, doesn't he? Up to all sorts before he proceeds to come in to bowl.
Like he's building up enough confidence to get into his run-up. He's, interesting technique, but it takes all sorts. That's what's great about this game. If there's one way to bat, one way to bowl, we do exactly the same thing. Just
going to push the cover point... cover fielder out to the rope. Yeah, he's juggling the ball, really trying to get some revolutions on it before he bowls it himself. And here comes Joe Cracknell down the wicket. Nicely flighted delivery, but over mid, off and over the boundary rope for 4 more runs. Eskenazi and Joe Cracknell absolutely flying here. 48 without loss. What an absolute fly. Nice flighted delivery there, Mike, but actually really nicely played as well. Controlled shot. Really controlled. Recognising mid-off up inside the inner circle and just lofted over him. Almost went all the way. Wow, I'm exhausted just looking at Hagsoglu's energy. Here he comes with the next delivery and pulled into the onside and over mid-wicket for yet another boundary. Picked that off really, really quickly. The length wasn't quite there. And Joe Cracknell in a flash was pulling it to the offside. 4 more to the total, 52 without loss. Yeah, it brings a change of field there. It brings his deep point up inside the inner circle and moves his square leg back to cover that shot. So far 9 from the over, 2 more deliveries to come. Here it comes into the onside. Does come the ball, but actually straight to the fielder, and they skip through for a single. And Eskenazi is probably thinking, please, can I be on strike here? Because I want a bit of this. 25 25 not out is Eskenazi and Joe Cracknell on 27. He's facing the next delivery from Hagsoglu from the taff end. Past the umpire, in he comes, and this one is sort of cut into the offside really nicely, actually, to the point region. They skip through for a single, and it's the end of the over. 54 without loss at Middlesex. What do Glamorgan need to do to get a breakthrough?
It's interesting. It looks a really good wicket, and batsmen are playing with the bowlers at the moment. They bring a fielder up, they'll push one or push two, and then they put the fielders back. They'll hit those gaps. So they're playing really, really well at the moment. Change of bowling here. What looks like we got on here?
It's Smith.
Rory Smith coming on to bowl from the Cathedral Road end.
So he's coming from the other end now as well. I mean, this is...
Ball went over, change, So what that does do, even though they're flying, it does keep the batsman guessing, but at the moment, the batsmen are winning here. This little mind game that's going on. Fielders, he's got everyone up inside the circle. There's just 2 fielders out still. There's a backward point, very much backward point out on the boundary in a square leg back behind square. There's a 2 field. Beyond that, it's a ring field.
So the last over of the power play, and that has hit the pads, and it'll be leg by. There was a shy from Clemens-Sisodia. It's just a single, so they'll be hoping to get up to, if they can, the near 70 here. What would be a great start in the first 6 overs. Now listening to BBC Sport Online, and we welcome listeners from Radio London as well. As Rory Smith comes in past the umpire from the Cathedral Road end, full, and that's right up in the block hole, and there's no run.
It's always interesting if you have such a fly and you're going over 10 and over. But that's the first Yorker we've seen, or any sort of slow balls in there whatsoever. So it's almost like, right, well, they're winning this game at the moment. Right, let's try something different. That's rather than just going for the same normal bowling, normal length. You've got to change something up.
10.3 the run rate at the moment. Smith dug in short that time, and they'll come through to the single. It just ricocheted from part of the body, and there's just a single to Middlesex's total. 56 for no wicket. So Rory Smith, who was on the transfer list and has played such a prominent part in this year's campaign. Scottish born. Past the umpire. The premeditated ramp, has it got enough on it? Clemens-Sisodia's on, but it's straight over the far boundary towards the taff, and it's a full complement. A premeditated shot. Batters nowadays perform that so well. It looks extravagant, but
it's very controlled.
It's very controlled, and it's very controlled at test level now, Mike Powell.
Yeah, it's interesting. What was not acceptable 20 years ago is just the norm now, and they practice these shots all the time, and there's actually less movement and skill involved in that shot than it is trying to hit the batsman back over, to bowl it back over his head, but with the wind as well. Very good shot. 2
balls to come from Rory Smith's over, and he comes, and again, it's a premeditated shot, but it wasn't executed that time, as Eskenazi would have liked. He goes to 33. Dare I say it, even the most modern outlook viewer on the game wouldn't have thought they'd have seen what we've seen the last few days at Lords.
Yeah.
But there you go. Smith, the last ball of the power play, short, and it's pulled, and it'll go all the way for 6. The boundary, of course, has been brought in a fair few metres in front of the grandstand, and it's a 6 to finish the power play. And Middlesex, as we thought, have pushed just one shy of 70. They're 69 without loss, Mike Powell.
Yeah, it's interesting. Going back to your point about ramps and different sweeps and different type of shots. I obviously work in a school up in Cheltenham, and it's trying to get those children or students that are learning the game now, but these players like Joe Root and Stokes and these brilliant players, it's based on a foundation of real solid batting, and then beyond, then they expand their game from that. It's certainly not the other way around. But if you can get both, you're going to be all right in the game.
No, it's a brilliant point, isn't it? Start with the textbook and then add to your repertoire.
Yeah.
Right.
It was funny seeing Geoffrey Boycott roll his eyes in the members' pavilion at Lords.
Right, here comes Andy Gorvin from the tough end, and comes in for the first ball of the over, pushes it into the onside as Eskenazi, and they scuttle through for 2 runs. Nicely run. There was a moment where certainly Joe Cracknell had to put the afterburners on, but 2 runs nonetheless. I think a bit disappointing actually there.
Yeah, Gorvin would be absolutely furious for that. Just drop and run 2. And Fielder, you need to judge how far you can be away from the batter to make sure that doesn't happen.
Next ball of the over, just again pushed into the onside, and Gorvin, accidentally sort of nudges into Joe Cracknell, and they just take a single this time. One more to the total. I don't think there was 2 in it, but we're both smiling because there was a little bit of a coming together. Nothing to worry about, of course.
Just a shirt pull between friends, I was fine.
It's just cricket, as they say. Yes, Middlesex off to a blistering start. The run rate is 11.4. Wow. Gorvin, here he comes. And a reverse sweep into the offside, or would it be the onside? Who cares? Joe Cracknell hits it for 4. Really nicely played. Everything's just coming onto the middle of the bat, Mike Powell. And it's going to the boundary rope for 4 yet again.
Whatever Middlesex want to do, they're doing it at the moment. Just picked up 2 to the fielder, then a single. Right, I'm a bit bored of that now. Right, reverse sweep, beating the 2 fielders at backward point, finding the gap perfectly.
And of course we're out the power play now, so we can push players onto the boundary rope, but still manage to bisect the gully and point fielder. Here comes the next delivery, and this one's a nice flighted delivery, full delivery, and it goes straight to cover, but they go through for a single. If you're wondering the scoreline in terms of scores, Eskenazi on 36 and Joe Cracknell on 38. Yeah, both of them are very, very well set. I think Glamorgan at a point here where, as you said a few moments ago, Mike, they've got to vary it up, haven't they? You can't just do the same old thing. But here comes the next delivery. Full delivery again. It's almost a repeat of the previous ball. Straight to cover. 1 more to the total. 78 without loss.
Yeah, the interesting one for me was Prem Sisodia. Why would you... I thought he bowled a really good 5... Actually bowled 6 good deliveries, and the 6th ball was a really good shot for 6. Reversed lap slog. Unbelievable. But yeah, I'd certainly worth another one on the back end of that over.
Next ball, once again, a very full delivery. This time it gets past the cover fielder. They take a single, think about a second, no more to the total. I thought Prem Sisodia actually bowled beautifully well in that over, and I do like his action. It's one that is firmly in the memory as well, and actually he's probably going to bowl the next over. But end of the over, and the score line is 78 without loss. And they're pumping up the music. Kenneth, they're pumping it up. They're trying to get the Glamorgan crowd going here.
Well, they need some wickets. They need a breakthrough because these 2 have played beautifully on a belting wicket, it has to be said. Nothing much to aid the bowlers out there. Very dry, obviously. We haven't seen much rain in the last 6 weeks. And it's playing at the moment like it has during the course of this T20 competition.
I'd opt for a little bit of pace off. I'd go Prem Sisodia this end. Could you have a bit of Kieran Carlson or Ingram from possibly the other end? I appreciate there's wind out there, so you're going to hit with the wind as a batsman, but it's not quite working for the seamers at the moment for Glamorgan, so possibly a little bit of spin.
Well, Carlson has taken wickets down at Sussex. Took a couple. Colin Ingram are obviously coming back after, I think, 4 games out after injuring his Achilles against Essex a couple of weeks ago. Here comes Prem Sisodia, premeditated shot, it's gone through, it's bowled him. So the breakthrough has come. Just thought for a minute it had been helped on its way, but that is the first wicket. Glamorgan needed something, and it's come in the shape of Prem Sisodia.
Yeah, Cracknell getting too much offside of the ball. They're showing too much for his stumps, and lucky enough for Prem, I think he got a little bit of bat on the way through.
I think he's going to appeal for LBW if it hadn't hit.
Got a little bit too much of the offside, so it didn't quite get in line, and ended up getting through and bowling him. So yeah, the breakthrough Glamorgan were desperately needed. Well done.
Well, you're calling for Prem Sisodia to be brought back into the attack, and he's struck. And Cracknell goes. And Max Holden, the new batter, coming into the crease. And Glamorgan will be trying to put some pressure on the new man. So Holden comes in. Prem Sisodia bowling from the Cathedral Road end. Sophia Gardens now bathed in sunshine for this final weekend of T20 competition. Eskenazi's on 37. Holden will face his first ball, left-hand batter. Here comes Sisodia. Oh, that could have been a stumping. Went through Chris Cook. Was that a chance? Be interesting to see that went through the lot.
He's hit it. That's gone through for a run.
Just looking at the replay, Sisodia's bowling well at the moment. Holden came down.
Yeah, he's got edge on that.
Oof, and that's a sharp chance.
Very sharp chance.
Sisodia comes in, that's bit leg side that time, and it's dabbed away into the onside, and Sisodia feels it's a single. 84-1. Middlesex still going at a fair lick. 10-8, just dropped slightly after that wicket, but they're still looking strong. Glamorgan hoping to round off their campaign with victory. They did the double over Gloucestershire, wins against Sussex as well. Kent, Middlesex away from home, that's reverse swept, and the run isn't taken in that game. Chris Cook made 113 not out, aided by Colin Ingram, his partner in crime. 92 he made, and at that point Glamorgan were looking good in the first part of the competition. Fortunately have fallen away slightly. Prem Sisodia, that's pulled into the onside, and it has gone all the way for 4 through mid-wicket, and just dragging down short that time.
Dancing down the wicket. He got nowhere near it, really. Had no right to hit that ball for 4, but in fairness, good hands on him, and got the hands through the ball and dragged it to the leg side for 4 runs.
Holden's on 5, and he will face Sisodia's last ball over the wicket this time. That's launched, and it's fielded at the man at short cover, and there's no run. So 85-1 at the end of the 8th. Middlesex still going along very nicely, Mike Powell.
Yeah, really good start from Middlesex, as you say. Eskenazi being the main threat of that, still out there on 38, exceptionally well. See, what we're going to do is it look like a change of bowling again. Yeah, we've got a double spin here. I think this will probably be a good option. It's not really a day for the seamer so far for Glamorgan.
So Hatsoglu coming into the attack for Andy Gorvin.
Harder end for Hatsoglu because the wind is blowing into his face here, the wind that we have out there. So as a batsman just looking to pick that ball up and let it fly away.
Stevie Eskenazi on strike to Hatsoglu, and he is bowled. And the spin has done the business once again, and Stevie Eskenazi is absolutely furious with himself. He's kicking his pad with his bat, and he's furious. He knows he had an opportunity there to really build on that 38 that he scored. A really nice innings from Eskenazi, but another one back in the harsh. In fact, both openers back there, so the scoreline is suddenly changing a little bit here. 85-2 at Middlesex. They got off to a flyer, Mike, but starting again time round with Holden and a partner in crime just about to join him.
Yeah, Eskenazi giving himself a bit of room to the leg side there, trying to run that ball down to the third man area. Lucky enough for Glamorgan, he's missed that and he's got bowled, but yeah, not ideal in that. You don't want to lose 2 batsmen who look set and look like they're going on to 2 big scores and getting out within and over in each other. So yeah, a little bit of rebuilding here. Higgins, dangerous player, signed him many years down at Gloucester.
Oh, yeah.
But fine player, a dangerous player, so not a bad man to come in at this stage.
The 28-year-old Ryan Higgins on strike, a really versatile cricketer, here to face a bit of spin from Hatsoglu from the taff end. He's spinning the ball up in the air and ready to go for his next delivery. And and a case of what could have been there. Higgins skipped down the wicket, missed it completely, and Chris Cook also missed the ball. There could have been a stumping, and it should have been another wicket, Mike Powell.
Yeah, missed stumping there from Cook. Higgins dances down the wicket, looking to pick that ball up to the leg side, hitting against the spin, and missed it, and also Cook missed the stumping as well.
And Middlesex were just going to keep their heads here. The left-handed batter's on strike right now, Holden, and the next ball comes in. It feels like the game has completely changed. And this one's another ramp stroke and into the onside. And guess what? Caught at a short, fine leg. And the game has completely changed in the last sort of over or so. Another wicket for Glamorgan. 86-3 is the scoreline. We're into the 8th over, and the game is completely changing here. with Higgins and Holden trying to play all sorts of extravagant strokes. Did they have to do that though, Mike?
I don't think they did. I think he's trying to ramp the ball over the top of the keeper's head, and he's just got a bit high in his bat and ended up going up in the air, and a comfortable catch. The fielder running around behind man number 45. But yeah, I just think, just looking at the flags out there, I think there's enough wind out there to hit the ball straight. Definitely this side, slightly different from Soda's area, from Cathedral Road end, but yeah, I'd probably opt going down the wicket because they've got a really good start. Obviously don't want to slow down, but there's a balance between being a little bit reckless and not taking advantage of a really good start of 86 on the board. But all of a sudden it's 86 for 3 with 2 batsmen in on naught.
Indeed, Higgins and Simpson at the crease right now, and really a rebuild job. And smiles on their faces actually in the Glamorgan side. They know that they were patient. They had to endure the openers hitting it all round the park, and what a partnership that was. But Simpson on strike here to Hadzoglu. So we're still in the Hadzoglu over. 2 wickets so far in the over so far. So what an over it's been so far. Here comes the next ball to Simpson. Oh, and this one goes straight through to the keeper, and the batsman completely missed it, and it's all happening out there. I think the wind, as you say, is playing quite a part, and actually I'm not sure the Middlesex batters are really using the conditions in the best manner. Easy to say up in the commentary box, of course. But the crowd are getting a little bit rowdy, quite rightly actually, after being hit round the park. Glamorgan have fought back. Here comes the next ball, and this one's trying to be worked in the onside by Simpson. Skipped down the wicket, it went onto the pads, and no run from it. The fielders all come in terms of the circle. We've got 5 in the circle, and the keeper up to the stumps as well. Here comes the last ball of the over, an eventful over so far. 2 wickets already for Hadzoglu, who's spinning the ball more and more, it seems, in the air before he bowls. Here he comes. And this one's pulled into the onside and really nicely fielded at mid-wicket, and there is no run. And 2 wickets in the over to Hadzoglu. And Mike Powell, you were completely right. Spin is going to play its part today. 86 rather for 3 is the score at the end of the over.
Yes,
Just did hear Mike, and then we perhaps didn't, but 86 for 3, Prem Sisodia 1 for 14, Peter Hadzoglu is 2 for 11, so spin the order of the day at the moment, and there's going to be more slow bowling in the shape of Tom Bevan. That's cut into the offside. It'll be fielded at the deep cover boundary, and it's hurled back in. Bevan, of course, has had his problems with injuries. Just came back against Hampshire on Friday. He now will be coming around the wicket to John Simpson, the wicket-keeper batter. Higgins is at the other end. Here comes Bevan, but slightly wide, and that will race away to the boundary. Evaded the man at point, and the man that sped round from deep cover couldn't prevent it from going all the way.
Yeah, as you said earlier, it's a little bit of rebuilding now. I mean, Eskenazi and Cranton played so well, you can almost be a little bit nonchalant, batting 3, 4 and 5 coming behind them, but you take away from the skill they displayed in the first 6 overs of the game.
Tom Bevan, the youngster that's just clipped away into the onside through mid-wicket. And for those of you who were expecting to hear Nick Webb, I'm very disappointed to disappoint you, rather. He's sunning himself by a pool in Greece somewhere, Nick Webb. Inconceivable that he's missing a game of cricket.
Don't paint that picture too vividly, please. Just at the Sunday lunch one.
Yeah, apologies. We want to gain listeners. Anyway, 93 for 3. 2 balls remaining of Tom Bevan's over, coming around the wicket. And that's, I think, from the toe end of the bat, and somehow it's gone out just for a single. So they've cramped them up here, have Glamorgan, through spin, through the slower bowlers, because they were going at a fair rate. Tom Bevan, and that's whipped away, and the man at long on will field. Run rate has dropped under 10 now, 9.5. So certainly doing the damage. And after the halfway point, Middlesex have been curbed slightly in their ambitions of getting, still doing well. They are now 95 for 3.
Yeah, we're lucky for Glamorgan Centre. They've got a number of bowling options out there. With Glamorgan coming on here, second spell. Bevan off spin, Kieran Carlson spin. You've got Colin Ingram with him spin as well. So there's plenty of pace off bowlers that Kieran Carlson, the captain, can turn to.
And Gorvin coming in from the taff end, and there's no run. That missed everybody.
Yeah, Gorvin from the taff end, and delivery there resulting in a dot ball. Went straight through to the keeper, Cook. No more to the total. Here comes Gorvin with feet pumping rather than arms pumping, and nicely driven down the wicket by Higgins through to long off. And one more to the total, 96 for 3. Yeah, the run rate has definitely taken a bit of a beating. 9.3 is the run rate at the moment. So we're over the halfway mark, Mike Powell. And this is a rebuild, but we've got 2 batters at the wicket right now who can definitely do a job, and they've done that many times before. Andy Gorvin comes in again. And this one's driven into the offside. Yeah, pretty close to the short cover fielder. They go through for 1 and they stop there. They think again about a second. And one more to the total, 98 for 3. Am I ahead of the scoreboard? I think I am. I like to think of myself ahead, but there we go. There we go. But Higgins and Simpson at the wicket. Higgins on 4, not 10. No, we'll call it 97 for 3. Here comes Corbin once again into the offside. The ball goes, and it goes towards the boundary rope, but there's a man in the deep, and they go through for a single. The scoreline is now 98 for 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I think Gorvin out there is sort of mixing up a little bit, bowling a few off-cutters. He seems slightly back of a length, so keeping the batsman guessing. I think this was what was needed possibly early on in the innings. This change of pace is really working. That
variation, getting a line of length obviously is definitely a fuller delivery once again from Gorvin, and this one goes out to a long off, and they go through for a single. And John Simpson's not mucking around here. He's actually played some really nice strokes, isn't he? Anything full and in the slot, he's kind of going for it, but knowing that the men are in the deep, he's keeping it on the turf. Gorvin's wanting to keep this over nice and tight. Here comes the next delivery. This is pulled into the offside. There's plenty of room there. They go for 1. They think about a second. In fact, they're taking the second, and easy second as well. And we're over the 100 mark. 101 for 3 is the total. Middlesex will be pretty pleased with that. It could have been even better, but actually, I think they'll be pretty pleased with 101 for 3 at the end of the 11th.
Yeah, so they've pushed past the 100 mark for the loss of 3 wickets, with Higgins and Simpson at the crease, and there'll be a change as Van der Hoogten resumes from the Cathedral Road end. And he started from the taff end. He'll be coming round the wicket, trying to cramp John Simpson, the wicketkeeper batsman, for space. So 2 men at the 45, fine leg and third man. There's a backward point, extra cover, as Van der Hoogten comes in. That's the ramp shot, and it'll evade. Well, I was going to say evade Sisodia. Probably should have done better, and it's gone sped away for 4.
Yeah, nice shot. A full toss there, but actually guided it really well. Premsodia around.
We premeditated that it was going to happen. We saw that in the test match. Yeah. Steve Smith, I think, went around. He knew it was coming, and I think it was put down as a drop chance.
Yeah, I think Premsodia should have definitely just stopped that, going for a boundary.
Incidentally, England now need 71 more to win, with Broad and Stokes. Stokes 155, Broad 11. Stokes taking obviously the majority of the strike, as Tim Van der Hoogten comes in past the umpire, full, and it's whipped away to long on. When does it change at one point in the test that England become favourites to win? Where do they come down to?
There's very few there's not a lot of batting to come. You know, being kind broad here, he's normally batting that low, so he's normally an attacking batsman by nature as well. So yeah, he's
supposed to take the 14 mark
until
even less.
Yeah,
Tim van der Hoogten coming in, bangs that in, good length, and it's dabbed down to Prem Sisodia, third man, and there's a run.
Even with 25 still needed, you'd still back Australia.
Robinson can bat, but he's got that rush of blood like he has in the first innings. He was stumped, but he can bat more. I mean, when he goes.
Yes. Yeah.
You've got Tung and Anderson, so 70 looks like still a mammoth.
Yeah. What a player Stokes is. We could wax lyrical for
well, if
forever.
lightning strikes twice, it would be unbelievable. Tim van der Hoogten banging in that shot, and it's helped on the way over Prem Sisodia, and that one helped along, and it's four.
It's a really nice shot from Simpson. They recognise the man is up in fine leg is up inside the circle. He's actually pivoted on that and lifted that ball over him for four. It's a real skillful shot, that.
Stephen Eskenazi bowled Hatsoglu 38, Joe Cracknell bowled Sisodia 39, Max Holden caught Timmy van der Hoogten, bowled Hatsoglu for 5, Higgins on 8, Simpson the man taking guard on 17, Middlesex 111 for 3. Full toss from Timmy van der Hoogten, and that's into the onside through mid-wicket for a single. 112 for 3, so Glamorgan just trying to put the brakes on here.
Yeah, Simpson just pushing through the gears here is what Middlesex needed. They didn't dwell too long on those wickets they lost in a bit of a heap, and they kick on. They're doing a great job here.
The voice of former Glamorgan batter Mike Powell with myself, Kenny Davis, and Rita Green on BBC Wales Online. Van Hoogten past the umpire. That's right up in the block hole, and they thought about a run and thought better of it as Chris Cook was ready to have a shy. So good end of the over by Tim van der Hoogten. It's 112 Middlesex for 3.
Indeed, end of the over, and the rebuild job is happening in front of our very eyes here for Middlesex. Higgins on 8, Simpson on 18. And 12 overs of the 20 overs played so far, 112 for 3 is the scoreline. It'd be interesting to know actually what would be a decent scoreline on this pitch. We think it's pretty dry, don't we? I mean, I'm putting you on the spot here. Mike, decent scoreline?
Yeah,
what do you think?
The way Middlesex openers played, you suggest it is a very good wicket to bat on.
Right, next over commences. And it's Galvin once again from the River Taff end, and first ball of the over is a dot ball. But yeah, indeed, you think that actually it's coming onto the bat really, really nicely and true, isn't it? And I think the bowlers have to work pretty hard with their variation. Galvin comes in again. And this one's a much fuller delivery and wide and pumped into the offside, but there's a man in the deep. They go through for one, they go through for a second, and nicely played from Higgins there, and nicely run as well. End of a little innings somewhere else that Middlesex know rather well, but we'll come on to that in a few moments. Galvin in 2, Higgins, and this one is caught in the deep. Nicely caught. Well, is it though? Was it off the turf? And actually initially the fielder thought, yes, I've caught that, but actually I think the consensus is that it fell short of the fielder. Nicely sort of fielded, you might say. What do you think, Mike? I think that was dropping in front.
Yeah, it just bounced, just caught in the half volley, didn't it? Great effort running forward. Hard to judge them. They come quite flat to your deep square, but yeah, it's just bounced, and it's all in the celebration, I reckon. You throw that ball up in the air.
Yeah, Mike Burns, the umpire there, was not moved, was he? And next ball of the over, and this one's pulled into the onside to the vacant mid-wicket area. They go through for one, they think about a second. There was a bit of a stumble, but they do go through for a second and nicely run as well. 2 more to the total. And I can tell you, by the way, at Lords, the home of Middlesex and the home of cricket indeed, there has been a wicket, if you are wondering. Ben Stokes, of all people, yes, out for 155, 70 more to win are England. But back to the cricket here in South Wales. Next ball comes in, and a reverse sweep attempt, and all that happens is it hits the pads, and there is another wicket, and that is exactly what Middlesex didn't want to happen. try to be a little bit clever and niche did Simpson there, but all that resulted was it was a plum LBW.
Yeah, Gorvine mixing it up here with his paces, but that was nice, full and straight, and unfortunately Simpson tried to reverse sweep and hit smack bang in front of all three there, so that's the end of his innings.
That is exactly what Glamorgan wanted, actually. Once again, the momentum was building for Middlesex, and that is the wicket they would have wanted as well. John Simpson is a very, very dangerous batter. But they have to rebuild once again, do Middlesex, and we're just getting a replay of the catch that wasn't in the deep. It was really nicely tried, actually. You know, this is what we're used to now in the blast, but also in modern cricket around the country in all forms of the game. But but he's definitely mixed it up. I've been pretty impressed, actually, with his variation, and he's using conditions really, really well as well. So wicket to Gorvin, and the run rate now down to 9.2. I say down because it was in the 11s with the openers a few moments ago. Here comes the next delivery into the batter and pulled into the offside, and they go through for a single. One more to the total. 119 for 4 is the scoreline. Davies with Higgins now at the wicket. End of the over. I seem a little bit despondent in my voice. It was actually proving to be a massive total for Middlesex with that initial partnership of 97 for the first wicket, Mike Powell, but it's certainly, well, not been halted, is it, the total, but certainly been the run rate has been slowing down. But we're going to get a bit of spin here from the Cathedral end.
Yeah, Prem Sodhi coming back on the Cathedral Road end. It's just his 2 overs have gone for 14 runs so far, so he's done a great job. Gorvine sort of got Glamorgan back into it as well. I think he's gone for just over 20 for his 3 overs. Coming down the wicket there.
Trying to bisect both fielders, but it's flung back in from long on, and there's a run. 7 coming from the last over, incidentally. 120 for 4. Davis, the new batter. Higgins on 11. He's on strike. Prem Sisodia coming round to the right-handed Higgins, and that just evades the man at cover, and it's a single. But certainly the run rate dropping south at the moment, just over 9. Was over 11 at one stage, or near to 11.
Yeah, I think they can buy themselves sort of 10 or 12 balls here. They should gather themselves and then go again towards the back end of this innings. There's no panic just yet.
It went down, dragged down, and went through, taken by Cook, and there's no run. It wasn't a wide either. Left-handed Davis on strike. In comes Sisodia. Slower ball that time, and they thought about a run, hit the pads, and Chris Cook scampering round, and there's no run. Says slow left arm for Sisodia, but he's not slow. He has got a zip on the ball, and that's chipped through mid-wicket, and there's a single. Bowled well.
Yeah, I think it's quite a shock for when club cricketers to come and see how fast
Yes.
first-class spinners actually bowl, especially in the one-day form.
Last ball of Prem Sisodia's over from the Cathedral Road end, and that's into the onside. The man backward square ensures it's a single, so another economical over from a Glamorgan perspective. 123 for 4 after the 14th.
Yeah, just the 4 singles coming from Prem, so he's done really well in this game. I think obviously his spin is the best option on this wicket, but that's good news for Middlesex, because they're sat there in the hutch at the moment, seeing how this wicket plays out, and think, right, rather than overplay our seamers today, maybe it could be a day for the slower bowlers.
Well, certainly Higgins will want to have an innings like he did on Friday night. I'll tell you more about that in a few moments. And here is Higgins on strike, and this one's absolutely punished. The first ball of the fresh over for 6. A lovely strike right down the ground and into the crowd. There's a couple of crowd members that sort of sort of lean to the left-hand side to make sure they didn't get the ball, but a lovely strike there from Higgins, who's now on 19. Here comes the next ball of the over. Higgins on strike. Oh, and this one is completely missed. In fact, there's a appeal for caught behind. But actually, no, completely missed it. No nick on that one. Yeah, Higgins on Friday night was 61 runs. I think Middlesex will be very much pleased if you can get anywhere near that type of total. Certainly got five and a bit overs to go of this innings. So Higgins has got an opportunity to do a big job right now to post a big total, and this one going down leg side and pushed into the onside rather, and they go through for a single with a man in the deep. And I think this is where they need to play that game, don't they, of just moving the ball around, 6 off the first ball of the over, 1 into the offside, and just rotating the strike and keeping the runs flowing. 130 for 4. Gorvin again. And this one a very, very full delivery and punched down the wicket. And they go through for a single. Nicely dug in, actually, wasn't it? A really full delivery.
I agree with you about obviously taking what you can if you're taking a boundary, and maybe 1 or 2 on the next ball. But I think they're trying to take advantage of the wind, hitting down towards. We've had no balls hit towards us, Cathedral End, into the wind. So I think they try and take advantage while they can.
Right-handed batter on strike, and this one's trying to be pulled into the onside rather. Completely missed there by Higgins, who's a man in form, and through to the keeper. Whew, that was close to being caught behind, wasn't it?
He's throwing everything at it, Higgins, isn't he? He's not going to die wondering.
That's the way he's playing today, and that's the way he generally plays as well. 8 off the over so far. Last ball of the over to come. Oh, and an aborted run. The wind is definitely pretty strong, and maybe that was playing its part there. But here comes the last ball of the over. Pass on by Burns. And this one is pushed into the onside. Finally, he connects there, Higgins. They go through for 1. They think about a second. In fact, nicely run. 2 more to the total. I think Glamorgan will be pretty disappointed. They nicked 2 there. But 2 nonetheless. End of the over. 133 for 4 after 15 overs.
Another good over there for Middlesex. 10 runs coming from that over. Higgins looking like he wants to get on with it, and I think the use of that wind up his back, I think it'll be all right. It looks like Middlesex is going to post a pretty healthy total here today.
Yeah, what are they looking at? They're looking at the 180 mark at the moment. They needed that 10 off the last over. They were pegged back a bit by Glamorgan.
Yeah, I think 8 and over minimum from here on in. And then say we get up to somewhere towards the 10s and over, like you say, it'll be 180, and that'll be a reasonable total.
Wickets in hand, 4 down. Prem Sisodia continuing for, and that's a stumping, and that's out, and that's gone. Davis goes for 4. A sharp chance taken by Chris Cook, and it's another wicket for Prem Sisodia.
Yeah, coming down the wicket there. Prem thrown a little bit wider, and unfortunately for Davis, missing an easy, comfortable stumping for Cook.
Second wicket for Prem Sisodia. Just put some flight on it, put it a bit wider.
Yeah, he's obviously come down a little bit early there, and perhaps so you can see he's actually dug the ball into the wicket. So if he stood where he was, he probably could have pulled it if he stood where he was, but obviously Prem recognised him, come on the wicket, drag the ball down, and now coming back from there. Comfortable stumping from Cook behind the stumps.
So that's the 5th wicket, and the new man in will be Luke Holman, 22-year-old all-rounder. So a lot rests on Ryan Higgins here, the Zimbabwean-born former Gloucestershire player, played for Welsh Fire as well in the 100, which will start next month. Sisodia just tweaking the field slightly. Men on the boundary giving him cover. Holman, the left-handed batter on strike. That's pulled straight away, and it bisects both men on the boundary. Has it gone all the way? The umpire just seeking clarification. If it did, it just went down right yet all the way. Just had the legs to go all the way. So what a start.
A strong shot that was to start with.
From Holman. He's not going to...
That's a different slant on the over now, isn't it?
Puts the pressure back on Prem Sisodia. After taking the wicket, Sisodia coming in. That's gone straight through. And again, Sisodia appealed. He didn't see that the ball had gone through. That's the second time he's done that. Exactly the same. And Chris Cook is saying, what are you doing? The wicket's fallen. It's gone, it's bowled.
I can't see how that's crept through. So the forward defensive shot, whether it's bounced a little bit more than normal, hit his elbow and then gone onto the stumps. And that probably led to confusion of Prem Sodhi appealing for a ball that's bowled someone.
Holman has fallen. So it was that lovely 6 and then he's fallen.
Short and sweet, wasn't it?
So we're just looking at the replay. Sisodia's bowled well.
Very well.
There's a little zip on the ball and he turns, he's appealing and it crept through. Hit the top of the bails and he apologises to the umpire who didn't need to do any work. So Glamorgan fighting back here. 6 down in the 16th. 139 is Middlesex tally and the run rate has dropped below 9. So they haven't got the wickets they had in hand now.
Yeah, Middlesex are in danger of falling well short of what they probably could and should have got 5 or 6 overs into this game.
Josh De Cares comes to take guard. Sisodia in, and that's a good shot. Reverse sweep, and it evades the man, well, at third man, or fine leg, as you want to call it. But a great shot to get off the mark. Fair to say, he hasn't got a bad tutor, as Josh De Cares, in the shape of his father, Michael Atherton.
Yeah, reasonable bit of knowledge in it. It's a strange over this so far, isn't it? Wicket 6, wicket 4.
England 9 down, incidentally, now, as Sisodia comes in. And there's a shout, but straying down leg. Fielded by Kieran Carlson. There's a single, 143 for 6. Yeah. So the last ball of Prem Sisodia is over from the Cathedral Road end. In comes Sisodia. Fuller. And it's just helped on the way through the covers for 4, just over pitched, and unfortunately for Sisodia, just full that time, and it was just nonchalantly driven and through the covers for 4. 148 for 6 after the 16th.
Yeah, slightly bizarre over there. Wicket 6, wicket 4. 1 leg by and then a 4, so a mixed bag, but the most important thing for Glamorgan are the 2 wickets in that over, and nicely bowled there. I love the fact that there was an appeal and the bails were off, but here comes Peter Hajdoglu from the River Taff end, and in fact I say that gave him the big build up and he's aborted his first delivery. Chartered financial analyst, I believe, as well. So a man of many talents. 6'4", 24 years old. I've got plenty more facts on him. No, maybe not. But the most important thing is that he's tossing the ball up in the air, trying to get some revolutions on it. And we have De Caires on strike and another aborted mission. What's going on
It's
here?
the wind, it is. I think that's put him off as he's running.
What is it, or is he injured? Because he's now limping a little bit. Is Peter Hajdoglu, and he's going out.
I think he's done.
Yeah, he is.
Gorvine's going to come back on.
I think it's a calf issue or similar, and he's just looking rather despondent. Although it's not the most obvious of injuries, is it?
Yeah, it's weird because he hasn't bowled the ball yet. Obviously, this over, and you thought he would have checked himself out before he got the ball handed to him. But yeah, it looks unfortunate. He could be going off the field. 2
for 11 so far his figures, so bowled really well in this innings, and a pat on the tummy there from his teammate, and he's off. Or is he going to be off completely? Might as well, really. Might as well get a substitute fielder on. But from a batting perspective, I think Glamorgan will be hoping that he can definitely bat.
Is this Smith coming on to bowl the change here? Yeah, Rory Smith.
Yeah, here comes Rory Smith. Well, Hajdoglu he's jogging off. So obviously the injury though was causing him some hassle And he comes off the pitch. He's bowled really well today, as Peter Hatzoglu. All those statistics and facts about him, it's just not going to happen now. White Pal, I'm sure you're absolutely gutted. But here comes Rory Smith instead. Change of bowler. Here he comes. He bangs this one in reasonably short. This is pushed into the offside by Takeris, and they go through a single. They think about a second and think again. So just one more to the total, 149 for 6. And 9 down now at the home of Middlesex cricket. And England look like they're going to be 2 down in the series against Australia, but it's not over until it's really over. But it looks like they've got these 68 more runs. I think it pretty much is. Smith in, and this one banged in,
wow.
and a lovely stroke into the onside, really nicely struck there, and 6 more to the total. That was a lovely strike, wasn't it, Mike?
Just sounded from off the bat. Then he was going all. You knew it was going all the way.
And Higgins, he can really strike the ball, and he's in. You know, he's certainly in the 30s now, and he picked that up really early, didn't he? It was just a little bit short, a little bit down leg, and pumped into the onside for 6. Nice stroke. Maybe stroke of the innings so far. Maybe there's been a few of those, mind you. 150 up for Middlesex. Here comes Smith again, and he's got hold of it, and it's through to the mid-wicket area, and a lovely attempt on the boundary rope to prevent the 4, but 4 more to the total. Smith just hasn't got his line right here. We've got a 6 and a 4, and maybe just being thrown the ball due to the injury of Hatzoglu is probably put him off a little bit here, but 4 more to the total. 159 for 6.
Very dangerous here. 36 from not many deliveries here from Higgins. So we hope for the next 3.5 overs, just get him to face as many balls as you possibly can, and that could creep up over this 180 we were thinking of earlier.
Indeed, and both the batters really look like they mean business. Higgins on 36. He hit 61 on Friday night. Here comes the next delivery, and this one is far fuller, even almost Yorker length delivery, and pumped down the ground, and they go through for a single. A brilliant over so far for Middlesex after a couple of wickets falling there. But I don't think Glamorgan could be too despondent. It depends actually how the next, I think, over and a half go, don't you think, as to what the total may be?
They've battled themselves back into this game from what the start was like. It was looking a bit of a horror show to begin with, but yeah, they've fought their ways back into this.
Rory Smith from the River Taff end, here he comes, and this one down leg side and straight to the fielder and out in the deep, and that is absolutely not what this partnership wanted. Takeris holding out to the sort of cow corner area, nicely taken in the deep. You've got to, he set himself, he had to push himself a little bit forward to take the catch, but another wicket, and Takeris out for 5 from 3 deliveries. 160 for 6 is the scoreline.
Yeah, just got a little bit high on the bat there. You could say a bit unnecessary because they've done so well in the over, but there is only 3 overs left in this game. I wouldn't have thought Middlesex would be bowled out in this, but the obvious plan now is to get Higgins on and let him face as many balls as he possibly can.
I think that's what the chat is on the wicket right now, with the new batter Fernandez taking strike, the left-hander, and Higgins is probably just saying, look, just put it anywhere, let's take a single and put me back on strike. In fact, no, it's one more ball of the over, so probably maybe want to consolidate position and just get Higgins on strike for the next over. But here comes Smith, who's had a up and down over so far, 12 off the over so far, but a wicket in there as well. 160 for 7 and Middlesex. Just one more ball of the 16th over to come. Smith to Fernandez, and this one's driven to short cover, and there is no run. End of the over. 160 for 7 is the scoreline for Middlesex, and just 3 more overs to go.
So Glamorgan will be hoping to skittle Middlesex out, take these 3 wickets with 3 overs remaining. 160. Middlesex need, you would think, plenty more on this wicket, but they've hit back. They were 97 for the first wicket, And they're going to bring Tom Bevan to take some pace off the ball here from the Cathedral Road end. Tom Bevan, Cardiff product, who's been in the wars with a shoulder injury this year. Bevan, that's slashed down to long off, and there's a single. So, just to remind you, Peter Hatsoglu has gone off with an injury. Unsure what the extent of that injury is. Prem Sisodia taken 3 for 32, 2 wickets for Hatsoglu. Bevan around the wicket, helped on the way, but the man will stop, and it is a single. Good work there. I thought they might have taken on the arm for a second. They thought otherwise. So we've seen on this wicket that 180, 185 has even been too little on occasions. So Glamorgan will be trying to put the brakes on, but that should go all the way. Yes, it is, with something to spare over the deep square boundary. And it was Colin Ingram out there, no hope whatsoever.
Yeah, Bevan just slightly strained on the leg side there. Ideally, I mean, it's difficult. Of course it is, because the last 3 overs are a T20 game. But if he can get the batsman hitting back down the wicket into this wind, I think he'll have more success. But the more he strays down the leg side, he almost pick the ball up and let it fly away with the wind.
Higgins, the danger man here, is on strike on 44. And what a shot that is. Launched into the grandstand. Ropes are in, of course. That's a full compliment. So
brings Higgins 50 up there. Very few deliveries. I'm sure we'll get up on the screen.
Commanding from Higgins, and a good over for Middlesex. 50 up for the Middlesex man. Middlesex 174 for 7. And at this rate, they'll be looking to get to the 200 mark. 50 not out. Bevan, and there's a shout for LB, and not given, as he tried the reverse sweep. It's an expensive over for Tom Bevan. Last ball of the over comes in, struck well, and it stopped on the mid-wicket boundary, and there is a single, but that a profitable one for Middlesex. They've pushed on to 175 for 7 with 2 overs remaining.
Yeah, 50 not fell over. Really good win for Middlesex, and Higgins playing a beautifully cameo for his club here. 50 off it. Very few deliveries. Yeah, got themselves up to that 180. I mean, 2 good overs here. We might be close to the 200. Back at Lords, were just the 1 wicket needed for Australia to win this second test match. 64 runs needed for that.
Yeah, I think it's Tongue and Anderson at the wicket at Lords with 64 to win. I think it's unlikely, but you just never know. Right, Van Hoogden down to bowl the next over, and this one's dug in. Pushed down the ground. It's a bit of a misfield, and they go through for not just 1 but 2. That is absolutely annoying for any fielding side. Oh, that's not what they wanted, because Higgins is now on strike, and they really wanted Fernandez on strike. 177 for 7. That, when I say they, that's Glamorgan.
Ingram down at long off. Very unlike Ingram, that.
No, that's absolutely not like him at all, isn't it? And that makes it even more painful. Higgins on strike, 53 not out. Van Hoogden, and this one is pulled into the onside, and all the way, it looks like, for 6 runs. Nicely, sweetly timed. For a moment there, I think all of us were holding our breath in the commentary box. We thought there might be a catch on, but actually the ball just drifted over the boundary rope. 6 once again, and Higgins is, well, having a blinder here.
And you're right, just to get Higgins back on strike and give him another opportunity to hit another boundary. Those small things that go a long way in this game.
Middlesex 83 for 7, and we're into the 18th over. Van Hoogden from the River Taff end, and this one's dug in once again. A real full delivery, Yorker length, and down to Ingram in the deep, and this time he makes no mistake. They go through for a single, 184 for 7. I mean, they should be eyeing up 200 here, Mike Powell, but I think that might be a stretch too far. You never know. Depends how Fernandez gets on here.
Yeah, and does he just try and get a single, or does he try and hit
I
a
would.
boundary? Yeah, he's hitting the ball so well, just feeding the strike.
Left-handed. Oh, left-handed Fernandez on strike. And this one is a full toss, and he completely missed it, did Fernandez. And he is bowled, Van der Hoogden, with barely any celebration there, but his skipper comes across and celebrates with him nonetheless. So another wicket for Middlesex. It just felt like Higgins just needed some company out there, and the 200 could have been up for grabs, or still could be, you never know. But Tom Helm comes out, but another wicket for Middlesex, 184 for 8.
Yeah, smart bit of bowling from Van der Hoogden. It looks like a bit of a slower ball, ended up being a Yorker, and batsman just playing all round there. Again, go back to our point, let's keep it simple, get Higgins back on strike, let him hit the boundaries.
Maybe he was just overthinking that a little bit. Sometimes it can play with your mind, can't it? Oh, should I take the single? Should I go for it? Blah, blah, blah. And in the end, bowled out, and stump went flying as well. But here comes Tom Helm, who's certainly no mug with the bat. And he'll be looking to just get Higgins, I think, on strike, who's 60 not out. 180 for 4. 184 for 8 is the scoreline. And this one's a Yorker length delivery, and pushed down the ground to Ingram, and they go through for a single. Nicely done there, actually, Tom Helm. First delivery.
Nice.
And Higgins back on strike. The 28-year-old Higgins on strike. He's done a job for Middlesex for quite a while. They're chatting between themselves. What would they be saying, Mike, do you think, between themselves?
I think just get him on strike for the last, so get him facing 6 deliveries.
Last ball of the over. Van der Hoogden with a very, very high delivery. In fact, was it over the... yes, indeed, it is a new ball. Was it over the waistline? So not only 4 runs down the leg side, but 1 more to the total. This is not what the doctor ordered for Glamorgan.
It's a frustrating over, because you think about the misfield from... that brought the subsequent 6 to give him back on strike, to end your last ball of the over with a no ball, so you end up with a 3 hits that went for 4. So yeah, it's just a bit unnecessary, this whole over, really. It's been a bit messy.
14 off the over so far, and a wicket. Next delivery, last delivery, and Yorker length, and that's the way to reply, isn't it, Mike Powell?
Yeah.
Right in the block hole. And that means that Higgins wasn't able to nick the strike for the next over, and Tom Helm will be on strike. 191 for 8 is the scoreline, with just 1 over to go.
Yeah, for me, I'd sacrifice a single. So right, let's get Higgins back on strike rather than try and hit boundaries yourself. Look, you've got a batsman who's in really good form. Get him on strike, give him 5 balls to hit out, and that'll get up to your total. I think Middlesex will be quite happy with this total at the moment, but another 7-8 runs on top of that, they'll be very, very pleased.
Yeah, they'll be trying to push for 200 in this final over of Middlesex 20 overs, and the over will be taken by Rory Smith from the Cathedral Road end. Higgins, fine innings on 64. Tom Helm, the other batter, Smith. And that's straight through the gate, and it's bowled. Smith picks up his 2nd wicket, and what a way to start the final over.
Yeah, I can see what he's trying to do. I can understand they want to hit the boundary, but you've got a highly skilled batsman at the other end. He's given himself a little room, exposing all his stumps, but I just think a bit of common sense needs to prevail in the last over.
So Ethan Bamber will come in, and I'm sure we'll think the dialogue there is just try and prod 1 and get me on strike.
Who knows? The way Bazball is pushing its way around the game could be anything.
Ethan Bamber. So Smith starts from his mark, just a few directions to the field. Wind breezing across Sophia Gardens. In comes Smith with his 2nd ball, and just got Chris Cook interested for a while, but just managed to get that into the onside, and there's a single, 192 for 9. How would Glamorgan feel about chasing 200?
I think you take a lot of confidence the way Middlesex started their innings. If I was opening the batting or batting 1, 2, 3 or 4 for Glamorgan, I'd be itching to get out there.
Not that they've had 200 yet. I'm sure that's the target as Higgins faces a ball from Smith full, and it's in to the onside. Can it be stopped? No, it can't. It evades both men on the onside towards that cow corner area along the floor, and there's a boundary.
Yeah, Rory Smith going for the Yorker there, slightly off his length, and ended up being a full toss, and Higgins piercing that gap on the leg side. Really strong shot there from the batsman, playing really well, not to 68.
From 34 deliveries.
Really good innings. Really well played.
3 balls remaining from the Middlesex innings. Rory Smith comes in past the umpire, bowls. Good length ball that time, whipped into the onside, the man long on. They'll try and get back for a second, but it isn't on. Ball hauled back in. So it's just a single. Bevan was the man at long on. So 2 wickets for Hatsoglu to Smith, 3 for Prem Sisodia, wicket apiece for Gorvin and Tim van der Hoogten, and that's spliced into the offside. There's a single which brings Bamba on strike, 198 for 9, and this will be the final ball. So which brings Higgins rather on strike, so we'll go for broke here. The final ball then of Middlesex is 20 overs, be bowled by Rory Smith, coming in from the Cathedral Road end, and it's full toss. They'll run hard here and they'll come back easy for a second. There's the man coming in. They look for third, but it isn't on. And that is the end of the Middlesex 20 overs, and they've got 200 on the board, and they'll be happy. There were 2 stages in that innings, 97 for the first wicket. Glamorgan took some wickets. Middlesex regrouped and got to 200, 201 the target, and Middlesex will be reasonably happy, Rita Green.
I think they'll be. I think they'd be pleased with that. Got off to a fantastic start, mind you. You know, having 79 on the board after 7.1 overs. It absolutely got off to a flying start, did Middlesex. But actually, after that, those bumps in the road with 2 wickets in 1 over, with Eskenazi and Holden holing out, then actually 200 mark is credit to the team, who actually have nothing to play for today, but have done a reasonable job. From a Glamorgan's perspective, do you think it was a case of actually, when the spinners came on, actually they made quite an impact, and maybe they could have come on a bit earlier, or actually was it a case of actually against some batters that were playing for pride?
Well, possibly, but I think, as Mike alluded to, I think it's a good track to bat on, and Glamorgan will be hoping to get a good start. 200 will be an examination for the home side here. 201 the target. Higgins fine and in 60 in 31. In terms of the bowling, Timmy van der Hoogten 1 for 43. Prem Sisodia, the pick of the bowlers, 3 for 32. Rory Smith 1 for 38. Hatsoglu 2 for 11 before going off with an injury. Andy Gorvin 1 for 33. 0 for 24 for Tom Bevan. So that is the situation. Glamorgan need 201 for victory here at Sophia Gardens. Rita Green, myself, Kenneth Davis and Mike Powell will be back with commentary for Glamorgan's reply in around about 10 minutes time. And welcome back to Sophia Gardens in the sunshine, where Glamorgan will be hoping to get to the 201 required to win to beat Middlesex on this final weekend of T20 action. Kieran Carlson will be joined by Sam Northeast out in the middle. So Glamorgan set a decent target after Middlesex struck 200, and Glamorgan's captain Kieran Carlson will be hoping to take it to their opponents. So we'll have the thoughts of Mike Powell, but to kick us off in Glamorgan's reply is Rita Green.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. Yes, Joining us here at Sophia Gardens is quite a total that Middlesex have put on. Here comes the first ball from De Carris, and this one is pumped into the offside, and it was in the air for an awfully long time, went over point and went all the way for a 4, and in a flash Glamorgan have got to the best possible start, which is a mirror image actually of the Middlesex innings, 4 without loss.
Yeah, Kieran Carlson just giving himself a little bit of room there and piercing the gap, just about creeping over that backward point there for 4 runs, but great start for Glamorgan.
And of course, we're in the power play at the moment. Here comes De Carris again with a bit of spin, and this time down the onside and going down leg, and swept into the onside, and 4 more to the total. Hasn't got his line right at all, as Josh De Carris at all, but that was a case of, well, I'll just push it round the corner. It was lofted for sure, but 4 more to the total, 8 without loss after 2 deliveries.
Brings a slight change of the field, long on coming up inside the circle, and deep square and a deep cow corner. 2 fielders out at the moment on the leg side.
Kieran Carlson on strike, and this one is a far better delivery, short though, and pushed into the onside. They go through for a single, so 9 without loss in the first over. They're going to have to go at quite a rate, aren't they, Glamorgan, to get anywhere near to being competitive. 201 is the target, but 9 without loss. Next delivery in. It's a bit of spin, and this one is nicely pushed into the onside, and they go through for a single. And this is what Glamorgan exactly have to do. They've seen the openers for Middlesex, Eskenazi and Joe Cracknell just do that. They just played a blinder, didn't they? 79 was the total before the first wicket. Next delivery, and banged in short, and this one pushed down the ground. Really, really nicely played there by Carlson, and 4 more to the total. This is not the start that Middlesex wanted at all. Yeah, good total so far, 14 without loss, and a decent run rate, Mike.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's nothing on this game for Glamorgan, so it's almost like a bit of a free hit. It's almost like a free punch.
Are we allowed to say that term? Yes. I love the term, but you're right, yeah.
It's sort of like you can, away you go. So you can be quite a dangerous batsman. So he comes into this game with a bit of form behind him, and obviously it's just, well, all the shackles are off, away we go.
And a very decent batting wicket as well. Next delivery, and again down the ground, and this time all the way, is it?
Yep.
Is it? Yes, indeed it is, all the way for 6. An absolute horror show of a first over from Josh De Carris, who gets a pat on the back from a colleague, but this is a case of using the wind, using the pace of the ball, and that first over, my goodness me, was exactly what Glamorgan wanted. 20 off the first over, 20 without loss.
Yeah, that taff boundary rope down there, seen a lot of action, a lot of 6s, a lot of 4s been down there with the wind, like you say. So I expect the same to happen in this half of the game.
So 20 without loss, and it will be Tom Helm to take the second over from the Cathedral Road end. Tom Helm, 29-year-old. He's been with the club since 2012. Here he comes past the umpire, medium pace, good length ball, and that was uppish for a while into the covers for, there's no run taken. Not sure if it just jumped up at Sam Northeast at the last moment.
Yeah, it's interesting they've opted to have the seamer from this end with the wind behind him, and the spinner with the wind blowing into his face. I thought harder for the batsman go the other way round. So
everybody
choice.
Inside the circle, bar, deep square, deep backward point as Helm comes in. Oh, that was short. It was there to be hit by Sam Northeast, but it was mistimed and went through to the keeper, and there's no run. Slower delivery by Tom Helm. Middlesex aiming for their third victory in what's been a tough campaign. It would be Glamorgan's sixth. Sam Northeast hasn't accumulated the runs he had last year, 510, top scorer in this competition last year. Helm digs that one in short, and it's dabbed down into the offside, and they come through for a single.
Yeah, my point being that if you've got the spinner with the wind behind your back as a batsman, you just have to lift that ball up, especially with a restriction of only two fields outside the circle. You just got to pick that ball up, and what you're going to get a boundary. But it's a lot harder to do that with a fast bowler. Rather than hitting into the wind with a spinner, it's a lot harder as a batsman. So it's interesting they've gone this way round.
Helm starts his run up, bowls Fuller, and that's a lovely off drive by Kieran Carlson. Elegant, and that's sped away to the cover boundary.
Beautiful, big inviting half volley there, and Kieran Carlson gave it the full treatment. It passed the infield before he knew it, raced away for 4 runs just in front of point. Beautiful shot.
Which takes Glamorgan to 25 without loss. Carlson looking very strong on 23, Northeast on 2. Carlson facing Tom Helm. 2 balls left of this over. Helm bowls Fuller, and that's the premeditated ramp shot on the half volley. 1 bounce over the boundary for 4. Lovely shot by Kieran Carlson, who's in fine form.
Lovely man up inside the inner circle there, just got all of it, timed it beautifully, almost went for 6. He looks in good form at the moment.
He's had a strong second half of the competition, as Kieran Carlson. He's on 27. A lovely premeditated ramp shot, and as Mike was alluding to, with the pace of the bowler, anything is going to go to the far boundary. Almost went to 6. There's a man dropping deep to the mid-wicket boundary now. Helm coming in, needing more protection on the onside. That's where it's launched by Kieran Carlson, but it'll be cut off at deep square. And Glamorgan take another single, so another strong over, the second coming to an end. Carlson is on 28, Sam Northeast on 2, so it's been all Kieran Carlson. Glamorgan are on 30 for no wickets.
10 off the Tom Helm over just a few moments ago. Really had an offside field, didn't he? But actually had a bit of protection on the on as well. But yes, certainly Glamorgan are not looking to peter out of this competition without a bang. But here comes Bamber. Ethan Bamber from the River Taff end. Here he comes bustling in. Very busy action, and this one's a full delivery, and this time not sweetly timed, pumped down the ground and completely plugs in the ground. That looked like it was a 6 for all it's worth, but then actually just completely plugged, didn't it, Mike? And they came back, well, they went for 2.
Yeah, what pitching wedge on that one, was there?
Yeah, exactly.
He's looking for a solid 5 iron through for 6. We're just going to put a wedge. Yeah, just plugged inches from the boundary, really, but he's having a good go here, Kieran Carlson. He's throwing everything at it.
You know when you get that at the beginning of the season, don't you? The outfield being really soft. Here comes Ethan Bamber, very full delivery. And once again, but this time, hit all the way down the ground. In fact, completely out of the ground. Now, if you are behind the Sophia Gardens and near the River Taff, you might have seen a white ball fly past you. 4 more to the total. This is a wonderful batting display. I would have thought Ethan Bamber would have learnt actually from the previous delivery of those full deliveries just being picked off. But the total, 38 without loss. Oh, what a batting display, Mike. Carlson on strike. What will he do next? Bamber in slightly shorter delivery and fielded reasonably well, but they go through for a single. 39 without loss. Carlson on 37, Northeast on 2. That just shows you who's been batting the most, but also hitting it out the ground the most.
Yeah, he's got to be careful with his lengths here, Bamba. He bowled one, which obviously just plugged for 2 runs, and the next one was another just a slightly full of a length ball, and Kieran Carlson's just looking to hit that ball over his head into the taff. So he needs to do something different here. Whether he most slow balls, bounces, wide up, but round the wicket, he needs to do something different here.
Here comes Ethan Bamba. This one's dug into the bat and actually really nicely bowled there to North East, who pushes this to cover, but there's no run. You're quite right, variation's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, look, like you said, Kieran Carlson's on 37 and North East on 2. It sounds obvious, but let's get North East on strike until he starts going, and then that might calm Kieran Carlson down a little bit. But the more balls he faces at the moment, he's going to win this game for Glamorgan.
Yeah, really good point.
Get him off strike.
Indeed, North East on strike, which Middlesex will be pleased about. And this one goes straight through to the keeper. In fact, there's a little nick, and North East is out. Sam North East is back in the hutch, and that is exactly what Middlesex would have wanted. It was a slightly wider delivery, and Sam North East just got a little feather on the ball, and it went through to the keeper John Simpson, and Middlesex have a wicket. The scoreline 39 for 1. Before I come back to you, Mike, I can tell you that it is all over at Lords. Australia are 2-0 up in the series. Yes, England all out of the heroics of a certain Ben Stokes a little earlier on. It wasn't enough to get them over the line. And it looks like Anderson and also Tongue did their bit at the end of the innings, but it was too much to handle for the England side. So congratulations to Australia, who win by 43 runs. Right, back to the cricket here.
Yeah, North East, he's trying to work, went to leg side and got a skinny edge through the Simpson. So yeah, that's all the end of him.
Right, next delivery, and a new batter to face Ethan Bamba, who comes bustling in, and this one's a slightly shorter delivery, but down leg side, pushed into the onside, and they go through for a single. And from a Glamorgan perspective, Kieran Carlson back on strike is exactly what you want. And no, indeed, it's the end of the over. Would you believe it? The new batters nicked the strike. End of the over, an eventful one. 40 for 1 is the scoreline for Glamorgan.
Yeah, 41 for 1. Absolutely racing along Glamorgan. We're saying Glamorgan are racing on. Kieran Carlson is racing along. 37 to his name, and everything in the middle of his bat at the moment, looking very dangerous.
But a good reply so far, albeit with the wicket in the 3rd over for Glamorgan. 40 for 1. Carlson, as Mike was saying, 37. Will Smale has just got off the mark, so it's 161 to win. The run rate is 13.3 at the moment, so they're well above in this batting power play. 2 men out are on the onside, backward square and deep mid-wicket. Third man, short fine leg, mid-off, mid-on. Cover, extra cover, and point. And that's swept. There's a shout. Ooh, umpire thought about it. It's gone behind. There'll be a couple here as it went fine. There was a big shout for LB there.
Yeah, possibly sliding down, coming wide of the wicket there. Fernandez, but bowling that ball is very wide from the crease. Possibly sliding down. Oh,
it was a good shout. Very good shout, because he played across his stumps. Leg buys, as Smale prods that into the onside, and they'll come through for a single. That was a close decision, that would have been, because he did come across.
Let's have a look in the replay. Did he get any? That's reasonably out for me. That's
very marginal. So Kieran Carlson is on strike. Short, pulled, and it evades the man at fine leg, and it goes all the way to the boundary. Another boundary for Kieran Carlson, who moves on to 41.
Just from the 12 deliveries, I think, as well.
Just helped it round the corner. Good, strong second half of the competition for Kieran Carlson, taking the captaincy reins with David Lloyd on the sidelines. Fernandez again. And there is a man that is going to evade that man on deep backward square, and it's gone over the boundary for 6.
Just about, wasn't it? Just. And the couple of foot either side.
He just sort of had a little glancing look to see where the fielder was. Just got enough on it. And that's brought the 50 up in the fourth over for Glamorgan, 53 for 1. The final ball of Fernandez is over from the Cathedral Road end. Left arm around the wicket, short that time, and Carlson launched into it, mistimed, and the man at mid-wicket fields, and it's just a single. 54 for 1. Glamorgan replying well in their task of getting 201 for victory with Carlson and Smale on strike.
Electric start from Glamorgan. And that's exactly what Glamorgan need to do, you know, chasing such a big scoreline really from Middlesex, 201 to win. They got off to a good start, haven't they, Mike, to say the least?
They've done really well. Well, Kieran Carlson's got off to a good start. He's scored all of the runs. Looking great. Coming to this game with a bit of form behind him as well.
48 not out, and here he is on strike, and this one's punched in, and a lovely stroke into the offside over the cover fielder for yet another boundary. Well played, and he waves his bat around as Kieran Carlson to signify that he's got over the 50 mark. Really nice play there. 52 from 15 deliveries, Mike. Wow.
But it's sensible batting. It sounds odd, but he's actually placing these balls where he's trying to hit them for boundaries. Really, really skillful play. What
will Tom Helm do next? Here he comes in. This one's banged in. Oh, and this it's done in for a bit of pace. Or is it slightly slower? It was slightly wide, but banged in and fooled Kieran Carlson completely. Now, this is where you need cool heads, don't you? The job is far from done.
Obviously, the problem for Helm, he's only allowed 2 outside the inner circle, so he's got everyone up on the offside. He's got deep square, deep mid-wicket, and that's all the protection he's got. Kieran Carlson trying to give himself a little bit of room and trying to put the ball up and over that ring field on the offside.
Tom Helm in again, and this one's banged in, and just an inside edge off the bat from Kieran Carlson, and it goes through to the boundary rope at fine leg. Oh, slightly streaky to say the least, but it's runs nonetheless to the total, and maybe a moral victory to the bowler.
Yeah. He deserves the shots he's played. Deserves a little bit of luck. He's here to entertain.
That won't be his favourite stroke of the innings so far.
That's not making the highlight reel.
62 for 1 is the scoreline. 56 of those from Kieran Carlson. Tom Helm is the bowler, and this one banged in and down leg side, but there's a short fine leg Ethan Bamber there to do the fielding, and there is no run. And just one more delivery to come in the over. I'll make that 2 actually. I thought the umpire was signalling 1 there, but fooled me as well. No, 2 more to come. Yeah, this is where Tom Helm. He's a very, 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 very good bowler who'll be looking for variation and looking to keep Kieran Carlson here without scoring too much. But he's bisected the fielders on the onside as Carlson, between the deep square leg and cow corner fielders, and over the boundary rope for yet another 4 more to the total. This innings is absolutely brilliant so far.
Yeah, Holm trying to go back of a length there with his protection out on that offside, the leg side, but fairness to Kieran Carlson, he, like you said, bisected those 2 fielders beautifully.
Well, Smale at the other end going, yeah, keep going, mate, keep going. 60 not out. I'll just happily watch you batting brilliantly. Here comes the last delivery, and this one's a very short delivery. In fact, it's so short.
No ball.
It is a no ball, and it goes over the head of John Simpson for 4. That is not what Tom Helm was looking for. So he's going to have to bowl that one again, and 4 more to the total, and a little bit more as well with that no ball. Yeah,
Kieran Carl give himself a little bit of room to the leg side. Helm following him, but just a little bit too short.
This is the thing, isn't it? As a bowler, your eyes are trained to look out for those initial trigger movements for the batter, and I think that's exactly what happened in there. And in his mind, he just banged it in short, way too short, and it flew over everyone. Right, Tom Helm's got to bowl that one again. Here it comes, last ball of the over, and this one's far fuller delivery. Yorker length, pushed into the onside for a single. So Carlson nicks the strike, which I think Will Smell will be completely happy with, and that's the end of the over. Another brilliant over for Glamorgan, 73 for 1 after 5 overs.
Yeah, 17 off that over, another big over for Glamorgan. Run rate up over 14 and a half with Kieran Carlson, 61 to his name.
19 coming off that 5th.
I think that's just been announced that that's Glamorgan's fastest ever 50.
Well, they are on a flyer because they have 1 over to go in the power play. Middlesex was 69 at the end of the power play, so they can chance their arm a bit. They can certainly push on in this final over, which will be taken by Ethan Bamber from the Cathedral Road end. Here he comes, start of his run-up, past the umpire, bowls, fullish length, that stray down leg. Is it going to be indicated wide? No, but they take a single anyway.
It's a leg by there.
They've umpires have been not as strict on wide straying down leg in this competition this year. Those 2 markings, blue markings, are there as an indication for them.
As a rule, pretty much anything down leg side is a wide, but for the batsmen move around so much and reverse hits as well, so that confuses the boundaries of what is a wide, what isn't a wide.
Bamber coming in, they desperately need another wicket to Middlesex. Premeditated shot, helped over, just evades the wicket keeper Simpson, and is hauled back in, and wasn't quite timed or executed that time by Will Smale.
Yeah, he's a one-man band at the moment, Carlson, isn't he?
61 from 22. His top score was against Somerset, 71, so he's well on course.
He's got 61 of the 75 runs Glamorgan has scored so far.
Playing a captain's innings so far. Bamber starts his run up, charging in from the Cathedral Road end. Bowls, digs that one in short. Umpire hasn't looked at it yet. It was called by the square leg umpire, and it is a no ball. So things not going to plan for Middlesex.
No, slightly rattled at the moment. Can't really see what Middlesex's plan is. Got to what their plan is to Kieran Carlson.
Well on top run rate wise, 14.4 at present. Bamber coming in, short again, and that's got hold of, that's been given the treatment all the way over deep square boundary for 6. Kieran Carlson's on fire here at Sophia Gardens.
Unbelievable, watching something very special here for Glamorgan. Believable knock back for length, and Kieran Carlson giving the full treatment. That's only 20 yards over the boundary, the leg side. What a shot.
Yeah, the boundaries are in somewhat on that side as well from the main grandstand, but he got hold of that. He 6 with something to spare for Kieran Carlson. On 67 from 24. 3 balls left of this power play. It's hard work for Middlesex. Bamber short of the length, and Carlson will feel that he's missed out there. It was a slower ball.
We said in the first innings that you need to change up your pace. You need to do something differently. You've got someone going so well, Kieran Carlson is at the moment, 67 from 25 deliveries. Well, if it's not working bowling short to him, or it's not working bowling length to him, well, let's try Yorker, let's try slower balls, let's try something different.
Especially when you're not aided much out there.
No.
Bamber coming in, penultimate ball of the power play, and that was better up in the block hole. It's squeezed away into the onside. Carlson, they're coming back for a second. It's well run by this pair. Well, there shouldn't have been 2 at all on, but they sped back, and they got home. Carlson moves to 69. Middlesex and Bamber won't be happy that they gave away 2 there, just into mid-wicket. There is plenty of acres of space there if it just dribbles into that area. Bamber coming in to complete the power play. That's short.
A wide.
And that surely is a wide. No. Oh. Yes, it is. I just thought about it.
Yeah.
And he was egged on by the Glamorgan faithful. Just seemed like just a lazy ball meandering in was.
Then just Kieran Carlson himself a little bit of room to the leg side, which sort of maybe why you have to think twice about it. But yeah, definitely wide.
So this over is ongoing. 86 for 1 in reply. 201 the target. Bamber full toss, and it's clipped away into the onside. They'll be content with a single because they're almost 15 and over, 14.5 rather. And Glamorgan are flying, and that is the end of the power play with Glamorgan well in front at this stage. 87 for 1.
Yeah, never good over for Glamorgan, never good over for Kieran Carlson, who moves on to 70. Glamorgan 87 for 1. Smell at the other end. Not facing many deliveries, but just on 2 at the moment. I think Ryan Higgins might be a good option for Middlesex. And maybe just to mix up his paces, his slower balls. He's got a number of different slower balls, and then he would be a reasonable option on this.
And someone you know well, or ish, is that right?
Ish. He's local enough, isn't he? He was over the bridge for a while.
Indeed, I think this is exactly what is required. Although Holman's going to come on to bowl the next over with some protection on his face. I can see it gleaming from a distance here, but he's now facing Kieran Carlson, who is absolutely on fire here in South Wales. 70 not out. Here comes the first delivery and pulled into the onside for 6 more to the total. Wow, what are we seeing here? This is an incredible innings. There are 2 men in the deep, and the ball went flying over their heads. So who cares actually where the fielders are when you're hitting the ball like that? A fantastic innings so far. It really is a case of Carlson is holding this up. 93 for 1 is the scoreline. Wow.
It puts a different slant on the over. Once you hit a boundary off the first ball, alone a 6 off the first ball, all of a sudden
that's horrible, isn't it?
But as a batsman, which relaxes you, right, let's just keep going.
Do you know, like the way I said, it's horrible from a bowler's perspective. Yeah, you're right, but from a batsman's perspective, you want more.
Couldn't get any better.
Second ball, I bet Kieran Carlson can't wait for the second delivery, and he defends this almost into the onside and goes, you know what, I just might take the single and get off strike and have a little breather, and that's indeed what he did. 94 for 1 is the scoreline. It's over 6.2 overs. Now we thought getting over the 200 mark would be an absolute steal for Middlesex, but we're in for quite a game here. Run rate at the moment 14.8. Next delivery, and this one's punched down the ground by Smale, and they go through for a single. That's nicely played as well, isn't it? Just rotate the strike.
Yeah, he's got obviously a different role to play here, Smale. Just leave Kieran Carlson go. Let him play all his shots, and you just play around that second fiddle.
Holman in again from the taff end, and this one straight to the fielder, and would you believe it? A caught and bowled. Sorry, I'm just hesitating because the reaction is everyone sort of stood still. They couldn't quite believe it. After Kieran Carlson has been absolutely on fire, he punched it back to Holman, who's been hit round the ground with his first 3 deliveries, and finally gets the wicket. Kieran Carlson, 77 from 29 deliveries. What an innings, but he's absolutely gutted because he would have hoped to have stuck around for a bit longer. Scoreline, Glamorgan 95 for 1, Mike.
Yeah, I can imagine what he would have felt if he just playing so many good shots. I think I'm not going to get out here. But all of a sudden you get one back of a length. You think, well, I could pretty much hitch it anyway. And he hit it straight back to the bowler. Caught, I think, in his gut in the end. I think, look at he tried to catch with his elbows in the end.
I was also going to hesitation in my voice because he took the ball not cleanly, let's be honest.
No.
Luke Holman, who used his midriff, didn't he, to hold the ball.
I don't think he cares in the end, no.
And his reaction was a case of, did that really just happen? Yep, it did. But now Middlesex will be totally relieved because we've got Ingram on strike, who actually had a great innings the other day. But here comes the first delivery to him, and this is short and wide and cut into the offside, and they go through for a single. That's nicely played. Bit of a loosener there from Holman.
I don't know, you feel as a bowler. If Kieran Carlson walks off with 70, his name off very few deliveries, and then in was Ingram.
Yeah, exactly. 34 the other day, right? Even in that very short innings. But I'm sure they're probably pleased to have him rather than Carlson. Yeah, as you say, maybe not. Right, next delivery, and this one's punched into the offside. Bisects the field as it goes into the deep, and they go through for a single. End of a rather eventful over there from Holman. The scoreline 97 for 2. And where are we? We've had 7 overs so far. The run rate is 13.9, and the required run rate is 8.
But it's no rest for the wicked as Colin Ingram comes in, who has a top score of 92 against Middlesex, where they had that wonderful partnership, him and Chris Cook, 187, which guided them to victory early in the competition. He's missed 4 games because of the Achilles injury picked up against Essex a fortnight ago, but he's so strong across all parts of the field on the on and off side. But it will be Will Smale to face Higgins, and he will be playing that similar role that he played alongside Kieran Carlson, one would think, Mike Powell.
It's the run rate. Glamorgan only require 8 or just over 8. And a wicket like this and the outfield and the conditions that are there, that's a stroll from here, really.
Higgins, 71 in their innings, bowls short, and there's a shout. Was it strained down leg? No, it wasn't. It's been given out, and Smale falls. There's just a suggestion that it may have been dragging down the leg side. The umpire thought about it, and the dreaded finger went up, and Smale falls. LBW to Higgins. No, would have been hitting. Would have been hitting.
Yeah, trying to pull that ball to the leg slice, not quite short enough. And Ryan Higgins is a skiddy bowler, clever bowler, and just outthought Smell there. LBW just bringing themselves back into the game. Glamorgan 97 for 3 at the moment, but Cook, who's been in great form this year, walks his way to the crease, followed by his partner in crime Ingram, who have put a lot of runs together in many games. So they're still in a great position, still just over 8 runs and over, so comfortable, very comfortable for Glamorgan at the moment.
LBW Higgins for 4 was Will Smale. Sam Northeast, the other 2 have fallen. Caught Simpson, feathered one to the keeper, bowled Bamba for 2. Kieran Carlson, majestic innings, caught and bowled Holman for 77. Run rate is 13.2, a change in field positioning from Ryan Higgins, the Zimbabwean born former Gloucestershire player. Just checked and goes back to his mark. Starts now, is happy. In he comes from the Cathedral Road end, bowls, good length ball, and that's feathered as well, and that's 2 and 2. So Glamorgan are on the rack here. Cook has gone, and that is a big blow, and that puts a different complexion on this game totally. Cook goes without troubling the scorers.
Yeah, a nonchalant ball outside off stump there, unfortunate for Cook, just getting a skinny edge through to Simpson. The keeper, ball not really doing anything off the surface, but not the kind of ball you'd want first up. But yeah, that's a blow for Glamorgan, because he has been excellent for Glamorgan this year in this competition.
Yeah, main scorer. But he goes without scoring. Chris Cook caught Simpson, bowled Higgins, and that has piled a bit of pressure that wasn't around at all a few overs ago. In the last over before the caught and bowled.
Brings Bevan to the wicket round batsman, strong leg side player, Bevan, explosive. I think he'll enjoy this wicket. So not as all far from all lost for Glamorgan. There's a game out here to be won.
In the 8th over, 3 to go in Ryan Higgins' over. In he comes to the new batter Tom Bevan, who takes guard. Bevan, that's a leave. Seldom do you see a leave in T20 cricket. You don't see it in Test cricket from England these days.
Yeah, but I think they've earned the right from the back end of Carlson's innings to get the rate down to only 8. They can sort of play it quite sensibly from here on in if they want.
Incidentally, if you're just joining us, Australia winning the second test at Lord's by 43 to go 2 up, and it's going to be very, very difficult now for England in this series, and that's dabbed down to third man for a single. Australia haven't won a series in England since 2001. They're well on course. So Bazball not working my Powell at the moment, and there'll be those purists who will say all along that it hasn't worked.
It's good to watch, though, isn't it?
It is good to watch, but I would counter that once Nathan Lyon went off with an injury on that second day, they might have thought about changing tact, but I don't think they have that. I don't know if they've got that plan B. It's going to take all of Brendan McCullum's reserves now, and Ben Stokes, who played a majestic innings in the rearguard action, 155 today. Higgins round the wicket, that's stroked into the onside through mid-wicket, and Ingram will pick up a single. Hasn't been able to get going, hasn't had the strike, but he'll get the strike now. So it's changed a bit. We are past the 8th over. Glamorgan still in a strong position, 99 for 4.
Yeah, I've seen a bit like that. I think this kind of wicket does suit Ryan well. Ryan Higgins, he's just 2 runs come from his over. They pick up two wickets as well. It's exactly what his team needed to get back into this game. But with Ingram out there and explosive players like Bevan as well, I think Glamorgan are still in the number 1 slot to win this game for me at the moment.
I feel like there's a lot of parallels, isn't there, to the Middlesex innings? A great start and then a rebuild. Here we go. Here comes the next over, and this one's drilled into the batter. Pushes to mid-wicket, and there is no run. So we've got Ingram and Bevan at the wicket now, if you're wondering, because there's been a flurry of wickets. 99 for 4 is the score. Ingram on strike to De Caires, and it's pushed into the offside, and they take a single. But yeah, a couple of wickets. You did it spot on, Mike, as per usual. That variation from Holman was with the last over from Higgins, rather gave Holman a couple of wickets there. Well, obviously Holman got the important wicket of Carlson to carry us with more spin, and this one's really drilled into the batter. Bevan pushed into the onside, and they go through for a single. So rebuild, here we go. Required run rate is 8.7. 4:36 on this lovely South Wales day. Really nice sunshine, bit of a breeze, but you couldn't want better conditions, really. This one's drilled in by De Caires and pushed back to the bowler. There is no run. Is it always like this here? It is, isn't it?
This year.
This year, yeah, indeed. Every year. Next ball, 5th ball of the over. This one's short and down leg side and pushed to the fine leg area, and they go through for a single. They think about a second, but nicely fielded in the deep by Luke Holman, and they just take the single. And this is what Middlesex exactly want. They don't mind giving away the singles. They know that won't be enough for Glamorgan. Keep the pressure on. This one's drilled down as well, and into the air it goes, but it falls between the fielders. Sorry if I got you a bit excited there. And they go through for a single. I thought for a moment there, Mike, it was going to go straight to the fielder. Yeah. Clearly not.
Didn't time. I think he's got a bit high on the bat. But this is quite typical of Ingram. He does start not very slowly, but he starts slowly and quite measured. And then all of a sudden, about 4 overs into his innings, he flicks a switch. All of a sudden, he goes right 6, 4, 6, 4, and then that's where he plays. So this is quite a delicate stage for them. If they're going to get Ingram, they're going to get him now.
That's what they need, don't they? But scoreline at the end of the over: 103 for 4 for Glamorgan.
So I've not got such a problem with the singles at the moment for Glamorgan, picking up 2s and the odd boundary when it comes to the next 3 or 4 overs.
Higgins continues from the Cathedral Road end, and that's chopped into the offside, and there's no run. Run rate has dropped considerably, 11.4, still above the 8.9 required. Ingram on 4. Tom Bevan is 3. But just 4 coming off the last over as Higgins runs in. Good length ball again, and Bevan thought about a run, but the man came in from point.
Yeah, the worrying thing for Middlesex is when there's a single and there's 2s, and then all of a sudden boundaries start to come. Then that required run rate of just over 9 becomes quite easy. But at the moment, they've had 2 really good overs. Two runs come from Higgins' first and 4 from the last. It's a nice little spell here for Middlesex.
In comes Higgins, and that's premeditated. It's going to go right along the floor, fine for 4, just dragging down leg side, and Bevan got some bat on it.
Yeah, Bevan just working the angles there, get himself outside off stump and manufacturing that ball down to sort of fine leg. Clever shot.
Bevan moves to 7, so we haven't seen Colin Ingram launch into proceedings yet. Higgins a full ball, and that's squeezed out on the offside, racing to the boundary behind point for 4.
This is the problem now for Middlesex, isn't it? Boundaries start leaking with those singles. Dangerous. A little bit wide, a little bit full from Higgins.
Radio London listeners are joining us on BBC Wales Online. You're very welcome here to Sophia Gardens, blazed in sunshine. Glamorgan 1-1-1, chasing 201 to win, 111 for 4. Middlesex have pegged the home side back somewhat with a flurry of wickets. Kieran Carson charged to 77 in 29 balls, but Smale and Chris Cook Cook on his first ball, so it is Smale and Ingram. Ingram and Bevan rather. Bevan just dabbing that one down to the offside, but there is no run. So a decent over again from Middlesex, who certainly have put the brakes on, and we're at the halfway point. And Glamorgan are 111. Just seeing Middlesex were 95 at this stage, so still anybody's game at this juncture.
Yeah, really interesting comparison there, Kenneth. And I think it's a case of Middlesex just desperately needed some wickets here, actually, to really cut down the run rate. Yes, Carlson's back in the hutch, but they got some seriously dangerous batters out. They have Glamorgan. Here comes the first ball of the next over. This one's padded to point, and there's no run. So we've got Luke Holman to bowl the next over. He's a bit of spin. Not much spin in action, but that pace is really helping throughout both innings, really, to keep the runs down generally. I say that and they'll probably hit a 6 in the moment, but there we go, that's life. That one's pushed into the cover region for a single.
Yeah, I think Ingram's the key here, without stating the obvious. That's the wicket they're desperate for. If he's here in 6.5 overs time, Glamorgan have won the game.
I think you're spot on, as per usual. But you know, those 37 years of experience. Well, maybe 37 actually. Oh, this is punted down the ground. There's a man under the ball. Will it be a 6? Will it be a catch? It will be neither. There was a fantastic fielding exercise there, actually. Couldn't have taken the catch, he would have gone over the boundary, but actually took the decision to simply field the ball back, and well done to the fielder in the deep. That was one of those super tricky ones, but they go through for a couple, and yeah, 2 more, but it could have been a wicket. But here comes the next ball from Holman. This one's drilled down and into the offside it goes to point, and there's no run. Oh, there's now an overthrow. In fact, an awful overthrow from a Middlesex perspective. There was no need to shy at the stumps, really, from Higgins there. And it goes flying past the bowler, who couldn't field the ball, and over the boundary rope. That is absolutely horrible for Middlesex. Oh, 4 more to the total that just weren't necessary. Yeah, that's life.
I don't think it was ever going to run him out.
No,
it's unnecessary to throw it.
Oh, 117 for 4 is the total. Maybe the nerves are jangling out there. Here comes the next delivery, and this one just padded to point. They think about a single. Think again. Oh, that's horrible, isn't it, for a bowler to give away 4? But this is the nerves, isn't it? They know full well, Middlesex. They're not used to winning, Middlesex. This is a great opportunity to do that. Required run rate of 9.2. Last delivery, and this one is lovely. A lovely stroke, pulled into the onside. And even though there was a fielder out there in the deep, I think it was Ethan Bamber, but actually it's gone to the left-hand side of the fielder for 4 more. So it feels like Carlson's still out there, really, because the runs are certainly flowing. And Mike, I think you were right that Ingram does take his time to get going, and these batters will. But they're going at quite a rate here, Glamorgan. 121 for 4 is the scoreline after 11 overs. They are now the favourites to win this game, and Middlesex will be desperately looking for some wickets.
Yeah, like that overthrow, I would say, was a little bit unnecessary, but it goes from you know, they didn't throw that ball, it didn't go for 4 overs. All of a sudden, it's quite a good over, just 6 coming from it, and it keeps them below the rate. But then, with that overthrow, all of a sudden, it's another good over for Glamorgan, and right, we're on to the next. Momentum stays with them.
It is Ethan Bamber that's going to take the reins from the Cathedral Road end. Glamorgan 121 for 4, 10 coming in that last over. Bevan on strike, good length ball, and there'll be no run because it's cut off by the man at mid-off. Just a recap, 201 is the target. So they require 80 in 53 balls, so more than doable with 6 wickets in hand. As Bamber goes back to his mark, starts his run up, here he comes, past the umpire, and bowls shortish, and that's chopped, and if it's cut off, no it won't be, it's 4 all the way through point for Tom Bevan, who's very strong, as you alluded to, through that area.
Yeah, he cuts very well, hits the ball very well on the leg side, but a little bit short, a little bit wide. I think it was a slower ball from Bamber, so well executed from Bevan to get that ball behind point and use the pace of what was on the delivery.
Injuries have decimated Glamorgan, Bevan being one of them. Lloyd has been out, Eddie Byram not since the game down at Hove, as Bamber comes in, full toss and whipped into the onside through mid-wicket for a single. So we're not using excuses. It has been a factor that there's been in need of juggling the team about.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I'm sure other teams have the same issues, but Glamorgan aren't a young squad, so you're not calling on very young players to come and fill in first team cricket. So yeah, ideally you want your number 1 players there all the time, but it's always going to be a bit of a reshuffle.
We'll pick up about the squad in due course as Bamber just checks and starts again. He runs in from the Cathedral Road end, blazing sunshine overhead, and that's a wide ball.
Yeah.
Well, that was well outside not only the blue line.
Messy.
Yeah. I was going to talk about the bowling. With Nisa being on international duty, we haven't seen a like-for-like replacement in the seam department, which has been a factor.
No, he obviously he's an excellent bowler. I'll come back to it after this delivery.
Which Bamber will bowl. Here he comes. And that's a good length ball. Is he trapped? Yes, he has. Ingram falls. LBW to Ethan Bamber, and he is furious. And that is a prized wicket. Colin Ingram goes for 13, and now Middlesex have got their tails up with 74 runs required. Colin Ingram cannot believe it.
He looks a bit dark with it. I think he thinks that's pitched outside leg. We'll have a look at that in the replay. So he's a little bit disappointed. He didn't usually react like that.
We'll just have a look at the replay. Bamber comes in.
Yeah, that's pitched miles outside leg. Yeah, that's pitched miles outside leg. So obviously the umpire hasn't got the luxury of a replay that we have up here, but yes, it's a shortest ball. Oh yeah, he's not happy.
DRS not involved, obviously, so he has to trudge up the stairs, unfortunately, back to the changing rooms, and Glamorgan now 5 down.
Oh yeah, that's
we've got a game on now.
That's game on without Ingram. That's the wicket they absolutely needed sooner than later, and they've got him by hook or by crook. Very unlucky for Ingram, Glamorgan, and that's a bonus one for Middlesex.
A lot depends now on Tim van Hookten, who's played many a cameo in the T20 competition. Top score 48. He can hit the ball. He's a true hitter.
Yeah, that's what you have at the moment. You've got Bevan and Van Hookten out there. They're both fine strikers of the ball. So there's more than a puncher's chance for Glamorgan for this game.
But in the 12th, there's still some work to be done here if they're going to see this one home. Tim van Hookten on strike. Just a little tweak to the field. Here comes Bamber. Short length ball, and it's skied upwards, and it's going to be caught and bowled by Bamber. 2 wickets in 2 balls, and Glamorgan in disarray here, and the game has changed in an instant. Well.
Hasn't it? Yeah, with Ingram gone, Van Hookten. Wow.
Well, Glamorgan was sailing, weren't they?
Yeah, we have got Gorvine. Gorvine's coming in next, so it's a recognisable all-rounder within the team there. So we're not down to out-and-out bowlers just yet, but it has just swung the game in those 2 deliveries there. Bamba short of a length. So we're sort of just looking at the replay then, how far it was down leg side, but given at LBW.
Well, that's the first wicket.
That was the first wicket. The second wicket back for a length, a little bit more pace, and then Van der Gooten for a bit of pace in the end. Got a big top edge.
Well, he was trying to play it into the onside and skied it.
Bowler on his follow through, taking a comfortable catch.
So 2 in 2 balls. Bamba on a hat-trick. Final ball of what has been a memorable over for Middlesex. It's not over yet. Gorvin on strike, Bamba in, and that's to the relief of the crowd, just played back. But what an over, which has brought Middlesex right back into this one. Glamorgan in a bit of trouble, 127 for 6.
Yes, indeed. That 12th over was could be pivotal for the Middlesex potential victory out there. 2 wickets for Ethan Bamba, who up until that point was not exactly on line and length. That first wicket, I'm not so sure, Mike. That was way out, pitching outside, wasn't it? I can see why Ingram was pretty upset. Although we have to say that in the spirit of the game, shouldn't be really shouting at the umpire. But I can see why he was frustrated.
Yeah, you can see it was a filthy decision.
Oh, well said. Yeah, indeed. Look, from a Middlesex perspective, if the umpire puts a finger up, then you got to take it. You can only ask the question of how was that, and it was given out. And then Van der Hoogten with a very thick edge, flying up into the air. There could have been 3 or 4 fielders that could have got that. But here comes Higgins, who bowls, and this one goes straight up into the air, skyward. Who's going to take it? Who wants it? And it's a corn bowled, and a brilliant corn bowled by Higgins, who takes the ball and falls down to the ground as well. I'm pretty impressed with that. They're very, very, very difficult to take. You bowl the ball, it goes flying up in the air over your shoulder, and an absolutely brilliant catch. And yet another Glamorgan batter back in the hutch. 127 for 7 now.
Yeah, but length ball from Higgins there. Bevan trying to hit that back over into the taff, and basically just got too much into it. Aerial, and Higgins, fairness to him, running back towards his mark there, diving back towards him with the taff to take a diving catch. Excellent bit of skill shown from the bowler there. Game's absolutely turned in his head in the last over here.
You'd not believe that there's nothing actually on this game, would you? You think that this is a really entertaining game of cricket here in South Wales at Sophia Gardens. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. No matter who wins, quite frankly, it's an absolute cracker. But the game has completely turned. The required run rate 9.4, and Higgins, who did quite a job with the bat, is now doing the business with the ball. 3 wickets for just 10 runs of 2.1 overs. Here he comes to the new batter, and this one's short and wide, but sort of pulled into the onside for 4 runs. Wow, describe that one, Mike.
That's actually a really good delivery, but Prem somehow hit down the back foot. He's pulled that. I think it bounced halfway up the stumps and wide mid-on for 4 runs. Really good shot. I think it has got a feel of there's nothing really on it, so we're just going to show what skills we've got.
Yeah, why not?
Real fearless batting here.
Prem Sisodia on strike, second ball to him, and he's pushed this into the offside. Really nice looking stroke there as well, and through for a single. That's a really great point, Mike, in terms of trying to prove a point from a player's perspective that, look, you know what, I can really do the business. Maybe the teams haven't done their business this season with in the Vitality Blast, but I've got something to prove. 69 to win is the summary. He bangs this one in, does Higgins, and this one goes to the gully area. There's a shot at the stumps, and the result is a dot ball. Wow, this game, I don't think it's over yet either. I don't feel like this game is over at all.
I think I might be right. Prem Sodi, he actually opened in one of the T20s this year.
For club cricket a few weeks ago.
There we go.
So he can bat.
There we are. He played club cricket against 100, so he can play. So he's far from a number 9.
Higgins comes in, the next delivery, and this one's pushed into the onside really nicely down to the deep square leg area they go through for a single, and I've sort of passed me by, quite frankly, that Andy Gorvin was also at the wicket with all those wickets flying down, but he's at the wicket as well. This is where Glamorgan need cool heads. The run rate isn't out of control. 9.5 is what they need, but from a Middlesex perspective, they'll be looking for more wickets, of course. Last delivery of the over, very, very full delivery, and really nicely played by Sisodia, and takes 4 more to the total. Nicely sort of dabbed down to the gully area, bisected the fielders, and as I said, this game is well and truly not over. And well, nicely played. I tell you what, I really like the way that Prem plays. He seems very cool, calm and collected, and that's what Glamorgan need right now. Yeah. End of the over, 137 for 7.
Yeah, hangs quite deep in his crease and got a thick edge there down to that vacant third man area. Yeah, so game on. It's Glamorgan, never good over. Glamorgan keep themselves up with the rate required just over 9. 7 overs on the board, left to go 137 for 7. Gorvine on strike with 1 to his name.
10 coming off that over, which brings a change in bowling. Luke Coleman from the Cathedral Road end. So it's spin for Middlesex. Dab down, and they'll run the first one hard, but it is just a single as the man from deep square comes in, which brings Prem Sisodia on strike. He's on 9. Gorvin on 2. 139 for 7. 201. The target for Glamorgan. Holman, again, just an easy single, and to think that Glamorgan at one stage, well, they were 111 off 10 overs. Well, they were cruising at one stage. So in a bit of a rut at the moment are the home side. Singles are the order at the moment. They've run the first one hard, but long on comes in. Just need these to stay and steady the ship, because by no means out of reach. 61 in 39 in the 14th. Holman coming in, and he's holed out. Sisodia, long on comes in, and it's going to be caught, and that might be that in terms of Glamorgan's chances in this one. Prem Sisodia goes, it's caught at long on, and Glamorgan in a pickle here at Sophia Gardens.
Yeah, I see Prem so trying to hit that off to the leg side, but unfortunately hit this sort of into this wind now, and it held up quite nicely. A fielder running in at long on.
8 down. Glamorgan in the 14th.
Just feels like a long way off from here, isn't it?
What a change, a dramatic change with those wickets. Colin Ingram, and luckily so, and hooked in 2 wickets in 2 balls.
It's the Carlson, when the Carlson, Kieran could never look like getting out. Slap one straight back to the bowler. Ingram getting bowled, all pitched outside leg.
So we're into the tail now. Rory Smith taking guard. 61 in 38. Just the 2 wickets in hand as Holman comes in, and that's chipped, but it'll bounce short of long on, just for a single. So Glamorgan, well, they'll be, it's not over, but they'll be desperately disappointed from.
Those are the 2 for me, Ingram and Carlson, those wickets.
Dabbed into the onside, and there is just a single. There was a thought about a second, but there was never on. And that's the end of the over. There's a bit of a lull, a bit of a flat sense if you're a Glamorgan supporter, because it was all going the home side's way at one point. But after 14 overs, there's a lot of work to be done if they are going to get the victory in this one. They're 142 for 8.
Yeah, really good set from home there. Just a 5 coming from it, picking up the wing wicket as well. Really good set for Middlesex, looking in control of this game at the moment. And the swingometer moves towards
Middlesex, if you know what I mean, in terms of favourites to win this game. Wow, we've had a topsy-turvy game, and here comes Tom Helm, and I reckon Tom Helm's got something he wants to prove here, actually. He's been knocked around the park so far, no wickets for 25. Here he comes from the River Taff end and bangs this one in, and this is pushed into the onside by Glamorgan for 1. In fact, they go back for 2. Yeah, okay, that probably was 2 there, and nicely run, and I think Middlesex won't mind too much as long as there's no more, stem the tide of the boundaries. But wow, hasn't this game changed, Mike?
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, no one's really taking control of the game.
Maybe it's a case as well of those towards the bottom end of the table, actually, that you just don't know how to win a game sometimes. But here comes Tom Helm for Middlesex. Bangs this one in, and he's beaten. He's Gorvin, and this one goes through to the keeper, and there's no run. There's a case of that sometimes, isn't there? Unfamiliar feeling.
Yeah, you forget how to win a game. I think that might happen to the teams down the bottom end. Or when you are winning games, you're not 100% sure how you've done it. So you haven't really got a go-to plan. This is how we play, this is how we can win games. These are our strengths.
I think that Colin Ingram wicket will be a bit of controversy within the game, but Middlesex very much in control. 10.1 is the required rate. Tom Helm bangs this one in, and it's pushed down the ground into the air, lofted towards long on. One bounce to the fielder. They just take the single. Actually, there probably was 2 in that, but they chose to stay safe. 145 for 8 is the scoreline. 56 to win. But with just 2 wickets remaining, seems slightly unlikely for Glamorgan, I'm afraid. That the home faithful here, you can feel, the lullers are like, what could have been. I think we all got a little bit excited, even Middlesex supporters as well, when Kieran Carlson was knocking it round the park. Tom Helm. Here he comes, bounding in, tall chap, past the umpire, bangs this one in again, and it could be another wicket. Indeed it is, off the glove of the batter, and it just looped up to the wicket keeper, John Simpson, and this game is petering out from a Glamorgan perspective, and Middlesex might be on the verge of winning just their 3rd game this season, although saying that will be 2 in a row after the Essex victory the other night. But it just looped up, I think it was off the glove, and who was there? John Simpson to take the wicket, and it looks like this game is all but over now.
Yeah, a little bit much too quick. A little bit extra bounces there, getting the glove of Rory Smith. He's trying to work that one down to the leg side.
You're listening to BBC Sport Wales, BBC London, with Mike Powell and myself, Rita Green here, as well as Kenneth Davies as well. But this game is petering out here at a very sunny Sophia Gardens. What a spectacle it is. What a sunny, lovely side it is. But unfortunately for Glamorgan, it doesn't look like it's going to be. It's not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Helm in with the next ball of the innings, and would you believe it? It came off the glove once again, but this time it wasn't straight to John Simpson. Looped over him. He tried to dive and take the catch. Wasn't to be, and it was 1 to the total. I thought it was going to do the same again.
It's just a bizarre game because there's 5 overs to go. At one stage when Kieran Carlson was going, I thought this game could be over. 5 overs early in Glamorgan's favour, and it swung round to being 5 overs early in Middlesex's favour.
Brilliant point. Bizarre. It was 127 for 20 odd for 4 at that point, and they were absolutely cruising. That was 11.4 overs, or 11-ish overs, basically cruising, and the game is certainly turned on its head. If you're wondering about the next blast fixtures in the quarterfinals, I'll tell you about that in a moment. Tom Helm in once again. Shortish delivery, punted down the ground by Hatzoglu, who's actually come out, bearing in mind that he was injured in terms of bowling. He's putting on quite an effort to take the bat. Not sure the injury is quite as bad as an Aussie off spinner. But anyway, in terms of the quarterfinals of the blast, by the way, that's on Thursday and on Friday as well, and the semi-final and final on Saturday the 15th of July. So if you're looking forward to some action, certainly in the Vitality Blast, and you're a neutral, so to speak, then you can watch some loads of action ahead. But unfortunately, it's not going to be with either of these 2 sides. But the game's petering out. 148 for 9 is the scoreline.
6 coming off the 15th over. But it seems a matter of if and not when from a Middlesex point of view, as Holman comes in past the umpire bowls, and that's dabbed down to long on. And we're still a bit stunned, Mike Powell, in terms of how it's shifted so dramatically.
Like I said earlier, it's completely swung on its head from the start of Glamorgan's innings to where we're at now.
3 wickets for Bamber and Higgins. That's some more flight on that ball, and it's a good shot for 2. They'll come back. The man coming from wide-ish long off, hurling that back in, and Glamorgan are up to 151 for 9. Run rate is below the required target now, which is 10.7. Gorvin on strike. And that's it. It's bowled. So everybody looks at each other very stunned indeed, and we can't believe what we've seen really. 2 parts to the Glamorgan innings. The first one was the Kieran Carlson show, 77 in 29 balls, and they were marching along Glamorgan, and it looked as if they were going to wrap it up within 15 overs. But the wickets tumbled. We had 2 in 2 balls, the damage being done by Bamber and Higgins, and it all turned on its head. 3 apiece for them, and that has meant that Middlesex in the end win by 49 runs, Mike Powell. Would you believe it?
It's absolutely bizarre. I mean, obviously Kieran Carlson was a huge wicket, never looked like it, looked like setting all sorts of records the way he went off today with the bat. And then obviously Ingram, very unlucky to be given out to pitching, looked like pitching well outside leg, but given out there. And then I think Cook, who's been Glamorgan's best batsman in this competition, got out the very next ball, which all of a sudden just blew Glamorgan and rocked their ship so much they just petered away and fell 50 runs short.
But that is very, very disappointing. Goes without saying, against and with no disrespect to Middlesex, a team that until Friday had only won one game, Rita Green. But from a Middlesex point of view, they've got a bit of momentum, unfortunately, on the tail end of the competition.
Talk about being at the wrong time of the tournament. Indeed, it didn't look like a team that have only won 2 coming into today's game. But for Middlesex, I think there'll be a lot of things that the players wanted to prove, and they have done. So certainly Ryan Higgins with the bat was absolutely tremendous. 71 from 36 deliveries, not out as well. It's nice to sort of carry a bat as well back to the dressing room, and then with the ball as well. That's always a nice day, isn't it, when you're with the ball and the bat, you're doing rather well. Got 3 wickets. So look, Middlesex will know that this campaign has been absolutely nothing but a disappointment for sure, but there will be lots of positives to take into future campaigns, and they will now reflect on what could have been.
Well, many thanks for your thoughts. If I could just grab a few from Mike Powell. The end of a disappointing competition. You had Glamorgan at the start with a bit of momentum, 4 in 5. Unfortunately, it petered away. You had those 2 reverses against Essex here and away, and it sort of just fell away. Injuries happened, yes, but your thoughts generally on the competition?
Yeah, I think they'll be disappointed with obviously where they've ended up, because unless you qualify for beyond the competition, it's always going to be a disappointing campaign. But yeah, there's highlights. Cook, with his extraordinary batting that he's done this year, probably proven a few people wrong, that there's sort of suggestions that maybe he shouldn't be in the team anymore from a number. I think he's been wonderful for Glamorgan over the years, and I've said it before. It's just you'd have to put a strong argument forward to say that has there been any better keeping batsman ever for the club? I mean, he's been brilliant. So the fact that he's had a really good campaign, which has been really good for him. Mark Lane will reflect as coach on his first campaign. He's got a 50 of comp coming up soon, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of team he'll put together for that. But no, for Morgan, it's been a disappointing campaign from halfway through, really.
And how crucial is recruitment next year? Because there are those that have said that the bowling's been light, especially in seam. We mentioned Nisa being with Australia, and those players. We lost Hogan, of course, to Kent. A very, very difficult man to replace. So what do they do in that regard next
Well,
week?
it's difficult because Nisa, because he's such a good player, and he's
always going to be involved. as
Yeah,
you say.
there was a really good chance he was going to be involved with the Ashes. So, yeah, you take a gamble. It hasn't quite paid off because he's got called up into the into the squad for the Ashes, and obviously Labuschagne always never going to be. He was always going to be in that team as well. So, yeah, it's difficult. But then the way tournaments are set up around the world now, it's really hard to get really good players for a long period of time. So, yeah, difficult, very difficult job.
Mike Powell, thanks to you for your thoughts. So just to recap then, Middlesex put 200 on the board, and Glamorgan at one stage looked as if they would knock them off very quickly. They were 111. Then in the 12th, there were 2 wickets in 2 balls from Bamba, which put pay to the Glamorgan efforts, and they never really recovered. And that despite a fine innings of 77 in 29 balls by Kieran Carlson. So a disappointing campaign has come to an end with a bump really at Sophia Gardens, and it is Middlesex that have taken this one by 43 runs. My thanks to Rita Green, Mike Powell, and from me, Kenneth Davis. Very thanks to you all for listening throughout this T20 campaign, but from Sophia Gardens, a very good afternoon to you.